hello.
Yo, yo, you're listening to 11.6.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Should I test this one?
I forget how to turn it on back there. Do you guys remember?
I believe you log in
I
with
did
the
that.
same.
Hello, hello, hello.
And then there's a.
There's a live button, but it didn't do anything live. And I'll keep messing with it. I just didn't know if you knew it.
I can help you.
Hello. Whoa. Way too loud. Way too loud. Hello, 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 hello.
Welcome, ladies and gents.
Hello, 1, 2. That's all distorted. Why is that? Hello. Headphone level. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, I know. What's that? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the problem there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. Let's bring that down just a little bit.
So long, our weed isn't good.
Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to do this for him last time, but we got this special mic for John Henry because he can't seem to sit still in front of a microphone.
Do we have all? We don't have all the guests, do we? We don't have John Henry here.
No, we don't. Can you go in that second drawer and see if there's a mic cable in there?
Yes.
Seeing one? No. We have an XLR. No, it's not in there. Shoot, that morning show might have taken it all. There we go. We got one.
What were the? Let's see. We're doing one at 5:30 and or 6 o'clock. Oh, okay. Okay.
Check, check, check.
You're welcome to come in too.
So this is how they.
Hello.
Hey, how are you? We're watching a minute, you know, have you heard about what's going on in Korea? Unusual, I do. So, worldwide call for peace, and Mary is about to. At 5:30, 5:40 every day, I do. 11:30. So there's, kind of like that, but this is all part of that Christian Elementary program. And Mary has asked, Mary appears every day to the missionaries for 40 years. Maria is only one. Maria, and she, the Russians, it was communist, and so they would take her, they would all, there were 6 kids. So Mary lives in secret. They no longer make her feel. There's 3 better still. I know the university. I know very in this way. I know this stuff. Yeah. Cool. I went when I was very excited. I had college. I had I thought of college. She was in bed dead. Usually before I fight right. I mean, there is
All right, I'm going now. I shouldn't say
And the other thing that Mary said, I think they're saying prayers. This is the goal today, 5. Figure out the limit. And Mary said that, anybody who's watching this, or praying at the same time, that Mary appears, will appreciate things. And we're together. Oh, sorry. Oh, let me help you. I'm already. Hello, Janice. I volunteered here. And, yeah. I was trying to show them how long. Yeah, it is.
Oh, I broke my phone as well.
So it's, oh.
It'll work out.
Well, I live here in Kennesaw. Yeah.
A lot of people here, they have done.
All right, we're gonna have John Smith.
And Jack is one of his. Jonathan, a lot of that stuff, he's always been in line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Awesome, great.
I have, man.
We're actually, we don't go for, we don't go for Sunday. Just one, now, so.
Wow. We got really busy.
Yeah.
Busy weekend.
Well, we're gonna be, coming in 3 or 4, then a discussion on the board. And, yeah, that's really cute, but they have these soccer fields out there, some church party, that'll be, and there's gonna be about, and then we're gonna be going something with it. Yeah. And they're doing a celebration. Oh, and you also mentioned, bring attention. Yeah. So, that's good. It's happy. Yeah. Yeah.
Living the dream, living the dream. Thanks for asking. Oh, yeah. Class was ready.
Hey, bud. Good to see you. I know you were here.
Yeah, right around the.
There it is. Come on down. Hey, you're not dancing with the stars. I've never seen an episode of Dancing with the Stars. I'm sure, guys.
So we're, good. Yeah, you remember Jack? You remember he was the Holy Spirit one? Okay, so, yeah, we've done it well. And,
Have a nice day, again.
Madison,
Hi, Madison. How are you?
John.
Good to meet you. Hey there, John. We've met. Yes, sir. I'm a big fan of South Florida. Yes, sir. We're not really from here. Okay, good, sir. I'm looking there.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you can make anything here. We didn't get throughout that, but, now you don't.
I will run against this one.
Oh,
yeah? Real soon. No worries.
Sorry.
No problem at all. TCB.
Water if you want, we'll just take it.
Should I grab a water bottle?
Good to see you.
You too. How you been?
Great. Garden's growing.
Good.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. So you can take it, go on in and take the fourth over there. A little bit different than.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
So the panelists are all on that side, so you get to be over there. Oh, you know what? Where's Benny? Show notes. Andy?
The first 30-something minutes.
I think that was the one.
Oh, am I?
Benny's not here. You want to be show note, Benny? Or Jack could be.
Jack has to leave.
Oh, okay.
It's,
And then Michael, come on in and
about
go
30 minutes.
Third chair here. So you guys will each get, this is good, Jack. You'll get to see what's going on. Oh, you were here that other time though, too.
Yeah.
Do you want to be in here or do you want to be back?
That's a good idea.
So you put the mic, adjust it. You want to get it about, hand distance away, wherever you're comfortable. We look at your chairs to make sure no one's like really low and somebody else is really
I'm
high.
leaning in.
Yeah, then pull it back if you want. Yeah, you are the only, just the whole thing. There you go. However you feel comfortable. And then we need, Nick. Problem solved. All right.
Toss one of these in the fridge.
Sorry, yeah.
No, no problem at all.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
got you.
Did you need to get through?
No, I'm waiting for him. I'm going to put his
Okay.
mic on.
Oh, yeah.
He can't operate
Don't
without
you
his
have that?
diet
Yeah,
coke.
that's there, Nick, right
Where am I
there.
here on the end?
Right there on the end. So this is exciting. Oh, we should take a couple pictures.
Yeah, I can get some pictures.
Perfect. And then, what Dave is our one of our full-time people here at the Quest. So he has generously decided to stay for us, help us out. So he can tell you too, like how to talk into the mic. And we just use first names only. What else? Tell them about the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So these mics,
Sorry.
Stop it. It's not a big deal at all. It was like 4 bucks across the street.
these mics do pretty good. Like
It'll
here,
be a good one.
not over here. And
Oh.
thing you guys are going to have to remember, like if you're talking to one of these guys, people have a tendency, they're talking to John Henry across the thing and then they go, oh yeah, right. Well, it's like, that doesn't work. Got to stay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, come up in here?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't even need me.
Is it okay for me to
Water,
cut
water,
this?
water.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'm going to, every now and then people forget, and then I'll just stand up and go, point to the mic. It's like, oh yeah, forgot.
Go watch in the back.
Cool.
Yeah, and John is our super volunteer. He's helping me with notions, which, but he can figure it out.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys ready? Okay, I'll let you go in there and look. Yes. Oh, I thought you put the other
No, I put the other one in the fridge.
one. Okay, got it.
Ooh,
If you want
fancy
to.
mic today.
Let me get over here and
We
put this
got
mic
a
on.
full studio today. Oh, are you gonna put it on for
Man,
me?
you do have like
Well,
a,
This is
the
intense.
Britney Spears mic.
I know.
I feel like we're gonna be at a concert.
Beard looks great.
It's getting back.
The T Swift, honest to God tour.
Does makeup coming after you? Is
Those
it?
two things compatible.
Wait,
No, that's what
Can't remember if it goes, which way it goes.
T Swifty tour. Take one.
I wish I were cool enough to know anything Taylor Swifty to say.
No,
it's
not
It's not cool.
All my Taylor Swift knowledge comes from like 2007. Hey, listen, Fearless was a fantastic album.
It
As
was
her
a
sa-
pretty good album.
Wasn't it so good?
I
It
liked
was.
it. I mean, of course, I was probably the target audience for that album.
Yeah, I was not, but I loved it.
I'm more of an appreciation. She sold her soul.
yeah.
I'm an appreciation of greatness. If anyone can do anything that well, then
Yeah.
whether you agree with it or not.
My Taylor Swift news comes from.
All right, can y'all go through just first names? I'm sorry.
Go.
Can you go through first names real quick?
Matt.
Matt.
Angeles.
What about you, Jonathan?
Jonathan.
Dirt Lions. You're of the Michael Lions.
I got it.
right?
I got it. Okay.
And then what was your first name?
Nick.
Nick. Mr. Piper. No, you're showing us Benny. I don't need your name on here.
So this one, Nick, we can move this just a little closer to you.
And then Dave, what was your name?
Jack.
Got it. Is Jack in here? Is Jack gonna be in here? No.
No, he's in the other.
Okay.
And then
Awesome.
Michael, you're gonna. I can't move that any closer, but
I'll sit up forward.
you just have to lean in a little
Okay,
bit.
so Matt. Jonathan.
Nick. Michael.
Whoa. Is this my first time I've ever used the fancy mic? Cool. Does it? This is cool. I can like move around. I do. Is it?
That's what. That's why I got it. Was
Yeah,
because
no,
you
I
tried it. I tried my best.
I do. I lean.
It's not a bad
Yeah.
idea.
Andy, don't
I
If you
think
want,
I
we can
got
share.
Oh.
Cool.
And Jonathan.
What do you mean? I'm definitely not that. Okay, that's cool.
Jen's always.
I don't know what. Do I give that to you?
I guess so.
Cool.
So,
6, 7. They have a lot of people in here. It's fun. It's good. It's gonna get hot.
were you going to say something about Julian being at the whatever?
Oh, thank you. I will make sure that
He just texted me and said his first thing goes 45 seconds.
I don't know how to do that. I'm just gonna at some point give a holler out to Julia.
Yeah, but I'm just saying for the
roughly
time.
a minute. Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah.
So-
45 seconds.
Yeah, so we're going to try to go on the first segment. Let's do like 27, 30.
Yeah. So sometime before the end, before we get we'll see how it goes. But if we need to do like popsicle sticks or a filler at the end,
Yeah.
I'll give a shout out to Julian coming to us live from Cove Crest. I know it's not
The
actually
first half or
live.
The second half.
Second half.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Okay. Whatever you say, Dave. You just tell me what to do.
I have no clue.
I'm just a pretty face.
We're
I'm a
just here.
dancing monkey. I'm,
Someone knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Just one person.
Dave's the man.
Isn't it usually how it goes anyway? Everybody else just shows up.
That's well, we probably now we can see.
Oh, wow.
Oh no,
We're
we
trying to
don't.
make sure because like
We don't like to acknowledge that whoever's sitting in that chair exists throughout the whole show. That's kind of the goal.
Well, if we don't acknowledge him, and I might just scoot over and pretend that.
Well, there's
Dave
his
over-
arm right there anyway. So.
I mean, I can just pretend Dave over here is my best friend. Honestly,
Yeah.
You know.
That
not.
works. He ought to be. Dave's a great guy. I'm a big fan, actually.
Well, I'm pretty new here, so I'm like still getting to know everybody.
We're gonna rename the show the Dave Cast soon. Not a lot of people know that. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, that's good.
We ready?
Yeah. You got good I can pray face. You might open us in prayer. That's a compliment. Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Cool. I want to put you on the spot, but not like that much on the spot.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. Is this a live prayer or is this a?
Oh, it's impromptu, man. It's like
Oh,
Protestant style.
no, that's
yeah,
good.
Good.
All right.
Okay.
I'm ready when you are.
Wait. Reset. Okay, why isn't it doing that?
Better.
There we no. There we go.
Oh, it's got a countdown. That's cool.
That's red. Oh yeah, do we have to do that?
I don't know. I don't know how anything
Second.
works.
Here.
I'm just here to stand still, look pretty.
Just do this. I don't know.
So that's what the clapper does. I've always wondered, like, I knew it has something to do with audio, but now that I see it, it makes a big, like,
that way people know
line of
where to start
demarcation.
it.
What
Yeah.
if I just like make loud noises occasionally? Would it throw off the?
No, because it's like a certain way. It's like a certain way that it's done. It's like right at the beginning. So when you're syncing up video with audio, you know where it starts and you see the.
I dig it. Well, now that I wasted all that time, I think we have to restart the timer. Sorry, Jack.
I never knew that either.
Isn't that cool?
Now I know, yeah.
I know it has
I had
something
no
to do
idea.
with like, but then when you see it on this thing, it literally like spikes all the way on both sides, like none of the other
That's
noises do.
so cool.
Cool.
All right, so
Oh,
I guess we'll just keep the
It's
audio
great.
as is.
We're rolling.
We are rolling.
Are we ready now with 3? All right. I know we've officially started, but do you want to start with a big fake laugh right now? Everybody ready? On 3, big fake laugh. 1, 2, 3. Oh, Michael Lyons.
Oh, geez,
Come
Sean
on.
Henry, you
That was
God.
good. You dog, you. What a good, funny joke we all laughed at. All right, ladies and gentlemen, super pumped to be here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Honest to God, a production of AM 1160 The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. We got a rock star cast here today. You've been here, right? You've never been on the show. I know your face, right?
Yeah, from confirmation retreat.
Oh, awesome. Okay, cool. We got Matt from the confirmation retreat here. We got D-Tom from like 2007 outside of Lorena's here. That's an inside joke nobody will get. We got Michael Lyons, who looks a lot like that guy who's on Dance with the Stars here. And we got Nick. Nick, who's rocking and rolling all the way down from Our Lady of the Mountains up there in Jasper, Georgia.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. And you're new. And so we got Nick and Matt are both new today. And then you guys are veterans. We're going to get to fun facts in a minute, but then we're going to dig into the topic of today's episode, which is kind of brotherhood, right? I think the title on a little clapper a minute ago was Band of Brothers. It's Catholic masculinity and all that good stuff. And so I'm really excited to be digging into that here with you guys in a second. Before we do it, you mind opening us in prayer? Nick?
Sure. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask that you send forth your Holy Spirit to be with us here at this podcast and at this meeting. Allow our message to resonate with the people who listen, but also those of us here. Allow us to be open. Allow us to be moved by your Holy Spirit. Help us to convey whatever message it is that you want to be conveyed in this messaging and in this program. Lord, we thank you for the people that are here to put this program together. We also thank you for the listeners, for our families, for our friends, for all of us that are supporting us behind the scenes to be here to witness to our faith, to our lives as men. And we ask that you send forth your Holy Spirit and your graces to be upon us. Amen.
Amen.
You must have gone to seminary or something.
That was real. That was a solid. I usually grade the prayers if you've ever done a show. That's like a 94, 95, which is unheard of
Thank you.
for guys because girls get a 5-point girl bump. I don't know why. They just do. I'm not saying the girls are inherently like bad at
That feels right.
prayer, but I would feel bad. You know, I wouldn't feel bad giving you like a 70 on your prayer.
That's fair. That's
Failing
fair.
prayer. But no, that was really, really good. Thank you so much for doing
I
that.
appreciate that.
I'm going to go out on a limb. Are you a convert?
No.
You're not
I'm
a convert?
No.
With that ability to
It's like
pray.
that was too good of a prayer for Catholic.
Yeah, and you got some twangy voice happening a little bit that makes me think you're a.
I'm from South Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Louisiana. Well, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you. I
Well, you got
appreciate it.
you got any other fun facts for us, Nick? We'll kick it off with you.
Oh man.
Just 3 now, right? 3 corporate overlords. Yeah, I think 3 fun facts.
Well, I don't know if it's a fun fact, but it's a fact. I have 5 children
Heck yeah.
from the age of 11 down to 20 months.
Awesome.
So,
Congratulations. Yeah.
We have only been Georgia residents for a year.
Mhm.
So we moved here from Missouri
Okay.
about a year ago. Golly, final fun fact.
Welcome back to civilization.
Thanks. Let me go last in the third
Okay, we'll
one.
let you come back.
I'll have to think of.
I just drove
think
through
of
the
a
whole
fun one.
state of Missouri this
Did you?
time last week. I was halfway through Missouri.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we had, it's fun. Yeah, a lot of billboards that just say the same thing over and over and over again. I noticed that was like a uniquely Missouri trait.
Yeah,
A
a lot of cannabis advertisement.
there were a lot of those. Yeah, and some sketchy billboards that I had to say like, don't read those to my
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
But there's some good stuff in Missouri. My family's in Kansas City,
Okay.
and so we drove from Kansas City back home. I don't know, about
Gotcha.
a week ago.
We were in Columbia, which is equidistant from St. Louis and Kansas City, right right in
Yeah.
the center. So
Yeah, I'm not going to throw any shade to all of our loyal Missouri listeners. Yeah, don't put the camera on Matt. He for some reason felt so passionately about it. He was like giving a thumbs down the whole time we were talking about Missouri. You should incorporate that into your fun fact here in a minute. But all right, Michael, you're a vet. You've been here many a time. You just owe us one.
Fun fact: I set the power walking record in middle school at 8:19.
How
walking record.
how far did you have to walk?
A mile.
A mile.
A mile
in
power.
8 minutes and 19.
Yeah.
How do they make sure? Like, what's the line of demarcation between power walking, and running?
Both feet can't leave the ground.
Okay, so always one foot has to be on the ground.
Yeah, you look really ridiculous going fast power walking. but
I was going
It's
to
worth
ask.
it.
your shins and calves really burn at the end of it.
There was this is a true story. I just read it's probably been a year or so, but I read a biography of Teddy Roosevelt, and he won a speed walking competition around New York, and it was like a big hyped up thing. He was going to be competing against this other really fast walker who was well known, and yeah, he won a speed walking competition.
I don't mind being compared to
I was
Teddy.
about to say,
Yeah.
yeah,
Worst people.
he's like my 8th favorite president. And if you strip out politics, he's my favorite president. Yeah. All right, what you got, D-Town?
Oh man, I didn't even think about this one. Fun fact: I am teaching all 3 of my boys to hunt this summer.
Nice.
Yeah,
It'll be fun. Are they out? You got them like out shooting a crossbow or something?
doing the crossbow. Yeah,
Cool. Yeah, my boy started with crossbow, and it's the best thing in the world. So much fun. All right, Matt, you owe us 3, brother. And
Okay.
can you explain like, the just abject hatred for the state of Missouri?
It's less about Missouri, more about Kansas City.
No, that's fair. Everybody
yeah.
hates Kansas City.
There you go.
Yeah.
Don't need really to explain.
No, that's fine.
First fun fact, I recently applied to the Archdiocese of Atlanta for the seminary, and I am waiting for a call to see if I have been accepted or not.
No
so-
way.
Nice.
Cool.
Just
Nice.
waiting.
We'll keep
Congratulations.
that in prayer, man.
Awesome.
Please do. Please do. I'm very excited.
Is there like a battery of, I've always wondered this, is there like a battery of like, do you have to like take a test for entry? Is there like,
Yeah, it was a long application process because you had to do the actual application, which is like 10, 12 pages.
right?
Then you do the autobiography, and then you have to do a psych eval, 3 interviews. It's just like a whole lot of stuff that takes time to do. So
Good. I feel like that's good. Like, I'm
It's
glad.
a great
I'm
thing.
glad they make you jump through all those
But-
hoops, but I'm sure when you're in it.
yeah, it's really tiring, but I'm really happy. I got it all done last week. So I'm just waiting for a call, I guess, from Father Ray.
Awesome.
I don't
I
know.
live next.
He's a great guy.
I live next door to him in
married us.
college.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was.
Good.
He was college
Oh,
buddies
that's
of
awesome,
ours.
man.
Southern
Wow.
Catholic back in the day. Yeah. He's a good guy. I'm a big fan. All right. That only still only counts as one though, Matt.
Yeah. Second fun fact: I have 13 tattoos.
Nice.
All over everywhere. I love tattoos. It's a lot of fun. So if I end up being a priest one day, I'm gonna have a really fun time telling stories about my tattoos.
It is cool. All right. I like it. We did a whole episode on that, actually got surprisingly heated and significantly edited as a result on tattoos.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a rough cut of our tattoo episode out there somewhere that you guys should all go see. Here's my whole take on tattoos and Catholics. Father Mike Schmidt has one, therefore it's okay.
That's exactly
That's all
exactly
I
why.
mean, that's all you need.
That's
I'm not going
exactly
any
what I
deeper
say.
than
Yeah.
that. Yeah. If he says it's fine, so it must be fine. Was that 3? We count
One
that 3?
more.
You got one more. Okay.
I love music, especially country music, and I had between Apple Music and Spotify last year. I had over 100,000 minutes of music listened to.
And
Some of
I-
you were doing stuff
Wow.
during that time.
Yeah, I was definitely doing stuff.
Just sitting in a room, staring at the wall.
But like when I'm
Vibing.
That was a lot of.
when I'm at work, I listen to music, so it's throughout the day. But yeah, it was a lot of.
That's a
That's
lot. Like, I have it on good authority from the hit musical Rent that there are 525,600 minutes in a year. So for like 20% of the year, you were listening
I was
to your
just listening to music,
Spotify.
yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, I dig it. What's a favorite artist or somebody from your top like 5?
Cody
I'm
Johnson.
gonna judge you for this. What?
Cody Johnson.
That's solid.
Who I'm going to see next Saturday in Kennesaw.
Nice.
Very excited.
One of my greatest regrets in life. This isn't true, but it's top 50% of my regrets in life is when I was in high school. I blew off the opportunity to go see David Allan Coe in concert, to go hang out with some girl who I broke up with, and now she's married to some other guy. So that was a waste, right? And I'm married to another girl. It wouldn't work out. But that's not the big regret. The big regret, I think I can say this on the air. Jack, edit this out if I can't say this on the air. Is David Allan Coe only got 20 minutes into his set, passed out on the stage, was woken up by his like handlers, and then made a really vulgar hand gesture to everyone in the audience, stormed off, cussed him out, and never showed back up on stage. You have any idea what I do right now to have like David Allen Coe cuss me out? That's super cool.
That's awesome.
Not a great guy
What?
at all, but had some really good music back in the day.
That is a great story that
Yeah.
you would carry with yourself the rest of your life.
But I can't because I was hanging out with that girl I dated senior year. She was
Probably,
a real
probably
sweet girl.
having a great trip and then got ruined.
All right, so we're not going to talk anymore about David Allen Coe and country music. We've already gone through 10 minutes. What I want to talk about today, or what I was told we're talking about today, and what I'm really excited to talk about today, is the idea of Catholic brotherhood, sort of male camaraderie. Like I said, I think the title that was put on the show notes was Band of Brothers, and I really want to dig into this because we've touched on this before on the show, but I think it is something that falls to the wayside a whole lot. Not in Catholic circles in particular, but just sort of in modern Western societies in general, the idea of authentic masculinity and by an extension, authentic brotherhood with other good men. And I feel like a lot of guys have a lot of friends, but a lot of guys don't have good, real, deep male relationships for whatever reason. I say a lot that I had a lot of friends in high school. I went to a lot of parties. I had a lot of guys who I hung out with and who I really considered really close friends. But I don't think I really had like an authentic friendship until college. Probably like sophomore year of college was the first time that I really sort of moved down to that level. So I want to talk about, first of all, what does that authentic relationship look like? And then second of all, I want to sort of diagnose this problem that I see in society with why we don't have those as we should, as we need as men. So I don't know, what does that look like? What does authentic masculine friendship look like? Any thoughts? I know that's kind of a big picture, just throwing it out there, but
Yeah, I think the first thought that comes to my head is kind of going back to iron sharpening iron, right? Like when you're looking for brotherhood, especially Catholic brotherhood, you want to be in deep friendship with somebody who's going to call you on in holiness and help you grow in holiness, right? Like if you're not in a relationship that you can talk about the goods and the bads of somebody who's going to help you grow in those areas, then not saying there's not substance there, but there's a whole lot more substance when you can be in camaraderie with people who are leading you as well as, need you to lead them at times.
But what does that look like between two men, right? Because I feel like you hear all the time, right? I think one of our biggest ever clips we've ever done on the show is talking about that Indian movie, the Bollywood movie. I think it's really Punjabi. A lot of people said that in the comments. But anyway, RRR, you ever see it?
No.
The whole movie is about this beautiful, authentic male relationship. And everyone was talking about this as if this movie were like a big gay story, right? As if these guys were homosexuals. And there was nothing to point to that at all in the whole movie. It was just male intimacy. And I think that's an important word to actually use, shown in this really beautiful way. And it bothers me that the immediate response, oh, this must be some romantic thing, right?
I think one of the big things that is lost in the male culture is vulnerability. And I think so I read this article and it was entitled "The Masks We Wear." And a lot of the way that men carry themselves in today's culture is based on what is pandered to us. Right. And so, you have all this messaging in media and whatever, and it's, you have to be a high earner, and you have to be muscular, and you have to be chiseled jawed, and you have to this or you have to that. And if you're not, then you're the Homer Simpson fading off into the bushes character. Right.
Sure.
It's like you have these two extremes where you're a buffoon or you're a millionaire model, XYZ. And the overarching majority of people in society are somewhere in the middle. And vulnerability is, in my mind, comes in two ways. Vulnerability to other men from the standpoint of, we have this facade of I've got it all figured out.
Right.
I'm tough. I can do this. I can do that. I have all these tangible skills or these material things that I've amassed, but no one will come and tell you I'm absolutely miserable inside.
Right.
Or my faith life is struggling, and they won't open up. They won't offer that to anybody because they're afraid of being seen as inferior.
Sure.
Or they're afraid of being looked at as less than or not having it figured out because we're told that we're supposed to have it all figured out and we're not.
Right.
So
Yeah, and it's almost like even saying like, yeah, like you were getting at, I think, right? Admitting the fact that we are not these impenetrable stoic blocks of whatever,
Yeah.
right? Is such a difficult thing to do. And at the same time, we have a culture that's saying your masculinity is actually really, really bad, and you need to either be feminized, right? Which is a lot of it. You need to be feminized. Your masculinity makes you dangerous and aggressive. And then we'll react to that often with this hyper masculinity, sort of like this Andrew Tate garbage nonsense, right? That machismo. Yeah, I got all the money and all the girls and all the muscles and all that.
I was having a conversation with my wife, I think it was even yesterday, and we were talking about the difference between what people say and their action.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that person who's like screaming red in the face, but what they're coming out of their mouth is, I'm fine. And
Right.
It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You look fine. Just kidding.
Yeah. And that's why I said earlier that I don't think I had any authentic male friendships until college. And I tell this story a lot. I might have said it before on air, but I remember distinctly going to a party, freshman year of college, hot tub. Yeah. Big rager, big keg party, a bunch of girls there. And my kind of acquaintance, my friend, I would have called him a friend, who was this big, square jawed, attractive guy kicking all the girls out and me getting mad at him. And I'm saying, no, we could make a mistake. We're drinking beer and there's girls here. We're not going to let them hang out. It's late at night. And me being like, yeah, dude, that's literally why I'm here. It's the girl and the beer combo. Like, that's why I wanted to be here. Those are my two favorite things. And instead we spent the whole night. This was John. I won't say his last name, but from college. Instead, he drugged me over and we sat in a hot tub all night long, drinking beer and smoking cigarettes and talking about the negative effects of pornography and the fact that he thought it was hypocritical that I was treating girls this way while going to mass. And my initial response was that saying like, screw you, mind your own business. What are you doing? And then as time went by, I realized, no, actually, you actually are the first guy who kind of gives a crap about me. And I want to talk about these things.
I'd say that goes into the hot take that I was going to have a little bit of what it doesn't look like and what I think, do the mic here so people can hear, is the traditional fraternity lifestyle that you would think. And you hear a lot of folks who like, yeah, the best friends are from college, but it was really just a load of drinking stories and sleeping stories.
Right.
And I remember I ended up leaving my fraternity in like the first 6 months when they would have these just horrific brag sessions of ways that they would do not good things.
Right.
And it's like, this is not, and I remember distinctly thinking, this is even when I was very Catholic, but it was just like, man, Jesus had friends and he didn't have to subject each other to these weird things.
Right.
It's like, so that seemed like pretty good brotherhood. And this thing that you state as brotherhood seems totally false. And so it's, I think dispelling some of that. I know there's probably fraternities out there that are better, but that's stereotypical. But one thing that was a good framework that I learned later on, it was said by some smart person, Aristotle, I don't know, some one of these guys.
Sure,
but there's
go
like
with
the four types of friendship, where there's the friendship of pleasure, which is, the things that you guys have fun together. So it's a lot of those like drinking stories. Your friendships of utility. I had to write it down because I knew I'd forget on the spot. But it's the friendships of utility. So those ones that are useful for you. There's friendships of convenience. So like your work friends. And then there's the virtuous friendship. Not that any four of them are wrong, but it's acknowledging what those relationships are. And if you strive for virtuous friendship, that's something better. And virtuous friendship is seeking the good for the other. An example of like seeking the good for the other is if you're single and you're living with one of your guy friends and that person is having their girlfriend stay over. And it's I think it's twofold or threefold. It's one, having enough time and patience to build a relationship so that anything that you say will be received well.
Which is huge, by the way. So you don't sound like a preachy, holier than thou kind of
and
guy.
and that you're respecting the individual and not just doing it again to feel holier art thou. Two, it then it's the courage to speak up. And three, it's like you say, hey, you say that you're striving for this, but this is something else, and doing a call out, but in a compassionate way. But it's not because you're judging them; it's because you're seeking the good of their their soul and
Right.
that of their relationship, and being able to do that sort of thing. I think that's a tangible example of how that can be done in a Catholic context.
And to piggyback off of that, society as a whole has totally taken hostage the word love.
100%. Yes.
That is the definition of love.
Right.
Being willing to tell your friend that you have a close relationship with, that they are not acting in accordance with their faith, that you are there to help them, but you won't stand idly by and perpetuate whatever
Right.
it is that they're doing. That is love. This whole idea, and maybe I'll get off on a tangent, but this whole idea of this church of nice, where we can't tell anybody the truth, we can't tell anybody something that might upset them or offend them for the greater good of their soul,
Right.
is a problem.
I always make the analogy with this. I have a baby. My baby is 9 months old. Her name is Georgia. She's precious. And we're going to go to the beach for the first time in a couple of weeks. And if she's like all my other kids, what she's going to do as soon as she gets to the beach is she's going to start taking handfuls of sand and shoving it in her mouth. And we're going to say, no, you can't stop doing that. Right. And then she's going to cry because she really wants to just shove sand in her mouth and to swallow sand, but that's bad for her. And because I love her, I don't want her to do that.
Right.
And it's interesting how like that is so obvious in that situation. I understand power dynamics and we have authority over her in a way that I wouldn't have over my friends, but we do that with physical things, but we don't do that with things that are more important, right? With spiritual things. And it usually boils down to, well, it's going to make them uncomfortable and make me feel weird.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cowardly.
But the reason why it's uncomfortable and feels weird, I guess, a little bit because it's the guy thing, but I'd also argue, and especially in today's day and age, that it's that timepiece, the ability to invest your time and effort with that individual, so that if you do have that relationship, the discomfort can actually come way down.
Right.
Because like the level of investment that you made in the relationship, I think, is directly proportional to the ease of bringing those things up. And unfortunately, in our culture of lack of time and easiest route, then that makes it harder, and then we're not going to do it. And I think another example of that also puts things in perspective, because I think if you have a best guy friend, it's easy to say, oh, I'll spend time with him. I could bring it up, maybe should have. But even in this idea of like your neighbor, it's like this idea of people who say that they want to build a relationship with, they love their neighbor. And so but I'd argue that there might be, unless you're living in a Catholic conclave, I would guess that maybe a lot of Catholics out there, they don't know their neighbors very well, because when they come home, they like don't want to be bothered. They do want to be insular. And so I know that's not necessarily like the virtuous buddy guy relationship, but that is, being a light to the world in a different way. And you can turn those relationships of convenience into a virtuous relationship if you put in the time.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. The sort of like talking about putting in the time for those relationships, because it is one of those situations where you almost have to make the love deposits before you can make the withdrawals. Like me and you, Michael, we don't know each other that well, right? Yeah. If you came at me right now and like started criticizing me like a moral failure, of which I have many, right?
I have on the Post-its.
I saw that. I wanted to bring that up. It was weird that you had that written before I showed up today. No, I would immediately put up a whole bunch of walls and be like, dude, who the heck are you? What do you think you're doing? I've known you, D-Tom, for half my life. We've lived together. I still wouldn't like it at all, but that's what makes it an act of love and I would listen to you. I would sit down and shut up, as hard as that would be. And it would hurt my pride in a big way.
Yeah. I think the reality is that like with those closer friendships, like you're where you have developed that time and what have you, you are willing to hammer it out, right? You wouldn't like it, but I feel like you would come back at me with like whatever your refutation is, and we would actually, hash it out and work through it, right? Like, so it becomes like a philosophical discussion, right? Because I mean, we all have malformations that we need to navigate, and sometimes just being able to duke it out in words and kind of have that philosophical discussion helps it get a resolution, right? I mean, because usually when there's a uncomfortable disturbance or whatever, it's because you actually feel convicted to an extent, like you feel called out for it, and there's righteous reason for it. Like, internally what I just said to you is like, oh man, he's probably right, but I don't like it. So we're going to, really, really get through that. But yeah, I think the other side of that is in that intimacy that you share in that brotherhood is the openness to receive that.
I think one of the things to add there, though, is that because you have a relationship, he has stock in your life.
Right.
And
Sure.
that's why you would react the way that you do, because there's an element of you feeling like you've disappointed somebody that you have given stock to
Sure.
in your own life.
That's a great point, because when the random person comes off the
Yeah,
street
like,
and yells
who are
something,
you?
all right,
Yeah.
that's great.
But that shows
right,
that he
right.
matters.
Right.
And his opinion matters. And his depiction of you matters.
Yeah.
And isn't it interesting too? We're taking a break here in a minute, but I want to get this thought out. I've been thinking about it ever since you talked about your fraternity, how desperate we are as men for that sense of community and belonging, right? We even said, yeah, you're wearing a That Man Is You shirt right now.
I'm starting it at
OLM. Yeah. We want community.
I
We
miss
want brotherhood, and we suck at it for the most part. Yeah. What were you going to say, Matt?
No, we used to have it at St. Michael's, and then COVID came around and kind of died it out. But
That Man Is You.
yeah, I miss it. I went when I was in high school, and I loved it.
Can you tell us a little bit about it before the break?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we would meet every Friday morning at like 5:30, 6 a.m. So we're all tired, but we're all there. We're all watching videos. You know, it's just, and it's vast age range. You know, it's guys in their 80s. It's me when I was in high school. I was 18, and it was just all these guys coming together to not only just learn about, you know, masculinity and manhood, about how to be a good Catholic man, how to be a good Catholic dad, but also just being together, praying together. One of my favorite memories from it was sitting down and we prayed a Divine Mercy Chaplet together.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember sitting there looking at all these men praying together and thinking, wow, like I've never seen this before.
And it's jarring when you see a bunch of men doing that in particular.
Right.
One of the best lies that the devil has worked out in the past century or so is feminizing religion, right?
Sure.
Selling this lie
Absolutely.
that religion is in some way inherently feminine. I'm reading this book, or I just finished reading a book called Defenders of the West, and it goes through these 8 Catholic men who physically defended. It was in the wars against Islam, right? And it's all these guys, the way they talk about their faith, and they talk about Christ, and they talk about his mother, and all, or it's all draped in this masculine rah, 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 in a virtuous, beautiful, right, authentic kind of way. And that was sucked out of the church. I mean, not entirely, obviously, but pretty darn close. I mean, I remember 30 years ago walking into a Catholic church for the first time, or 20 something years ago, and me thinking this is the most feminine thing I've ever seen, and expecting swords and shields and St. Michael statues and stuff, and being sorely disappointed. So we need to bring that masculinity.
I would argue that the church needs to go back to that.
I would too.
I mean, there was a day of crusaders that
It's beautiful,
needs to come back.
Hey, we got a Jerusalem cross up in our church right now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to have to take a quick break here in a second. We're gonna run over to some of our sponsors, but before we do take that break, I do want to thank the 2001 Oops, I Did It Again tour for providing us with my microphone for today. So, while not an official sponsor of the show, we did tell we would encourage all of our listeners to buy tickets to the Oops, I Did It Again tour 2001 Britney Spears. Don't look up any videos of it. I haven't seen it, but I'm sure it's raunchy and terrible. But big thanks for the microphone today, guys. All right, everybody, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Honest to God, a production of The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. Boom shakalaka Jack. That was like 1 second over, brother. You got it. Thank you. He's our editor, by the way, when I'm talking to him.
James is texting me.
Yeah, camera 2 went out, so I had to be quick and
Mm.
make our producer camera, y'all's camera. So we got a little bit of a screen, but it's.
Yeah.
But,
Is this camera on?
yeah, your that camera's on y'all. This camera was supposed to be on y'all, and then it just blacked
Well, I
out,
don't
and
know
then
why it
I'm
went
on.
off.
Let's say we can. I mean, I don't buy. I don't know if you do. We can.
Would you mind sitting in his lap? I think that would be better for
That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Matchmaker.
I mean,
That's gonna AI that together, right?
Well, it was. Well, now it's black again. Oh, there it goes. Hold on, I gotta do the. I have to do the thing.
Anything y'all want to make sure that I bring up if it doesn't come up organically on the second half?
I think David and Jonathan being like a structure
No, we do
for
this,
having
don't
like
we?
that authentic
No,
masculine
it's just
friendship.
not showing
Awesome.
that.
Because I was reading that today, like
We only
those
do that
stories,
to
and I
show
was
the
just
no
like,
SD or no
this is.
battery.
I thought
I've
that
heard
was the
so
line.
many people that
Oh,
are like
wait,
in
there's
the
a line
culture
there?
just being like,
Oh,
oh yeah,
there
they
is
were
a
so
line.
like
Oh,
in
I'm
love with
sorry.
each other, gay for each
I
other.
didn't
I'm like,
see the line.
gross.
that's good friendship. Like that's what it
Yeah.
is. That's perfect.
Okay,
It
awesome.
makes me so angry.
Yeah, we'll absolutely.
I think
I
real
was
life
doing
example.
that man is you at St. Monica's in Duluth, which is actually the reason I have this job.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah.
I
There you
mean,
go.
I gave I think it was That Man Is You at Peter Chanel. I gave a talk there. They have a That Man Is You
I don't know.
morning thing. You're the expert. You're wearing the shirt. But it was pretty great.
How do we get the no bat off?
Every time that thing pops up now, it's
I
weird.
know.
It's always there.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, so our meeting structure is going to be an hour and a half, 6:30 to 8. It's going to start
Awesome.
with the rosary. And then
What day of the week are you doing it?
Tuesdays.
Cool.
Tuesday mornings.
I liked Friday because I played football, so I would already be up
Sorry about
early.
that.
Yeah.
And I would just go straight to
No, that's
film
not your
on
fault.
that
Yes,
game
it is.
day.
That's my
It was great.
first
That's awesome.
So
Right?
sweet.
St. Michael the Archangel
Right?
Church has a men's group
Both of us in this.
that they
Right?
get together and they
Right,
kind
look
of
at
do
us.
almost what you're talking about.
Well, I think that is that manager. I'm pretty sure it
You
is.
said real life
They'll
examples.
get together and they'll
Yeah.
smoke
Couple
cigars.
Guys, listen to real life
Yeah.
examples in action.
Awesome.
Chase things and they'll do prayers.
Yeah, that'd be
I know
fantastic.
that, yeah,
Well, you
yeah.
can give me a rundown of
So,
this because
that's
I've got
my
this
That's
now.
funny. I promise I won't tell the hot tub story every single episode, but the story about my friend in college in the hot tub, that was really funny. You were on the last time I talked about it.
Where they should be
Okay, good.
for the most part.
All right.
Hello.
We're gonna talk about David and Jonathan pretty soon after we get back on. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna hit space and then that's gonna.
No,
I listened to an episode just to kind of get a feel for it.
Yeah.
But you had my friends on, the Hubers, the
The twins, yeah,
And,
Veronica and,
Mary.
Allison.
Veronica and Allison.
Yeah.
Mary. I love them so much.
Oh, Mary's the not twin.
Yes.
She was great.
Mary's the
Actually,
older one, yeah.
they did a whole I watched their whole thing with Jeff Goldblum. It was really cool.
I tried to find it.
It's just type in Hubert twins, Jeff Goldblum. I don't know. It came up
Oh,
birthday.
I guess you could probably find it on YouTube. now.
Include the word
Yeah.
birthday. Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
super
I
cool.
love them so much.
They
I
did.
could do this for like 3 hours. I got like a whole laundry list of stuff. So
Well, seriously,
any direction you want to go,
Jump-
we can go.
jump in and go.
Okay.
The problems with these, my biggest issue with the show is that it's
So, yeah.
stuck in a time constraint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish that it could be
Joe
like
Rogan style.
2 people for 8 hours just digging
yeah.
through all the stuff.
Yeah.
But that's radio. It's all
Don't get
good.
that $300 million stipend from Spotify.
Yeah, exactly. I was listening to him the other
And
day.
we'll say the other one is-
No, I wasn't. Jordan Peterson was talking about Joe Rogan, and he said like he's in the camp. He's like moving in the direction of like, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Man, what was that group at St. Michael's?
I don't remember the name of it.
And then when I do a lot of
Yeah, they meet occasionally. They'll just do random things together as men,
yeah, and then
Just
what I
like
do is
hanging out,
last one.
and it's just like again,
And it should
any
go in
range
that
of
same folder that we-
age. They'll build fires. They'll go out and do whatever. Yeah.
We have at my school at Bosco, we have what's called our patriarchs, and it's the patriarchs meetings that they do. They're really cool.
I
It's
also
lots
have
of pig roasts and
Yeah.
Laura
Fires
told me to
department.
say hi.
So is this my-
Laura.
McCall.
Oh, I'm a fan. She's a
Yeah.
sweetheart.
She actually drew this.
Did she really?
That's
So I ended up getting-
That's awesome.
She had a design pretty similar to my tattoo artist, and he cleaned it up. But
They get me. I get my moonshine from the McCalls.
that makes sense.
Yeah. It's a good family. Yeah. They don't make it. Actually, the moonshiner died like a month ago. So now I don't know where I'm going to get my moonshine. He was very old. It wasn't like tragic. I mean, it's
I think you
sad.
can get it from your bathtub.
You can. Yeah. You can go blind. But, okay, cool. Are we ready?
All right.
Oh, no rush. Whatever you guys want.
Wait.
Do we need to set that up? You mind teaching me how to set up the shot clock?
Oh yeah. So it's got to.
Maybe do it clear.
You got to kind of hold it
Mike's turned
up
off.
here, pointed up toward the ceiling,
Okay.
and then we'll hit stop. And once it stops, then you can hit the reset button.
That clock is the most complicated thing about this entire show. I'm not kidding. Like every time, it's such a like.
It's the first
Such
time
a
I've had
bear.
I
it.
found it works best if you
Haven't
hold
been
it
on
up here,
forever.
pointed up toward the ceiling.
All right. So just okay. And so when we're starting a new.
We used to do
we're
note
recording
cards,
in
and it went.
space, right?
It was so much more
Shift and
efficient.
space,
Shift space.
And
Okay.
then
10
space
minutes.
will stop it.
Shift
That's what we do up in
okay,
Dahlonega,
gotcha,
right?
gotcha. So
Mhm.
shift space play space stop.
Shift play record.
See,
That was a lot of.
I feel like it ought to just be a button. Like, stop.
My word
Start.
There's got to be a way to streamline
You
this
really just
process.
need one button, actually. Just turn it on, turn it
Stop
off.
and go, yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Too many.
What are these
Oh,
functions?
You did it now.
It goes to the time. There you go. And then, nope. And then when we're ready, when you hit start, It'll count down from 10.
I used to own a CrossFit gym, and we had a
Are we
clock like
ready?
that in the gym, and it was just always like,
I'm ready when you are. Oh yeah, 6 seconds, 5 seconds. All right.
So then record, make sure that's recording.
It's recording. All right. Let's go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Honest to God, a production of The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. We're still rocking and rolling. We got Max, we got Jonathan, we got Michael, we got Nick. We got a stranger in the production chair over there. He's killing it, though. And then, as always, to my right is the void that may or may not be Shonos Benny. Glad to have you. Or not. It's good stuff. But we're talking about masculinity, Catholic friendship, and what that actually looks like. And you were saying off air a second ago, Nick, it would be great to do like 8 hours of just kind of open forum. I wish we had that kind of time. Unfortunately, there are constraints with radio. So I do want to jump right back in. And I want to start with something you mentioned off air, Matt.
Yeah.
We were saying we wanted to get into some real world examples, and you mentioned Jonathan and David from the Bible. So can you just kind of take off with that?
Yeah, I was reading it today and just like looking at just the language used and how it said, Jonathan loved David as his own more than like the love of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so beautiful. And so often, like we talked about, you hear people in the culture say, oh, they were, gay for each other. They loved each other romantically. It's like, no, that's actual authentic friendship where you love each other so much that you're willing to do anything. I mean, really taking it to, hey, my friend's about to be killed. Let's protect him. Let's save him. Or, hey, my friend's not doing so well mentally. Let's be there for him. And I guess that's more of a modern day example, but the way their friendship was, I mean, when Jonathan died and David found out, he just mourned. He mourned for days. And it was so beautiful. And to see that kind of love, that friendship come through and to make a covenant with each other of just like David always taking care of Jonathan's family.
Well, one thing that I bring up fairly regularly is this desperate desire to sexualize all the things and how ridiculous that is.
It's like a pornification.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's because I think it's a symptom of the fact that everybody's brains are so addled by pornography and just this fallen world that we live in. But I make a point of saying it's usually sort of a shock value thing when I say it, when I'm talking to a group of men or whatever, I talk about how attracted I am to certain men. I'm like, not romantically attracted, right? But there are men that I'm attracted to. And I think like, you're an example. I want to be like you. And there's different layers to that, right? There's guys who I think, man, he's such a good dad. Like I see his kids, I see these grown kids. I want to be like, let me hang out with that guy and pick his brain, ask him 1,000 questions and be around him so I can emulate him. Or guys who I'd say, that guy looks great. I want to have a good relationship with him because I see all these he emanates virtue in a way that has absolutely no romantic connotations. And it's just such a bizarre thing. I remember distinctly talking about this pornification of culture, going all the way back to when I was a kid in like elementary school, me having this realization that I really liked hanging out with the guys in my class. I didn't like the girls. And I'm like 9. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I'm gay? That's going to ruin my life. Right. And then looking back, I'm like, no, dude, you just like playing Legos, man. It's clearly cooler to hang out with the guys than it's the girls. It still is in a lot of ways. So I'd love to get into some more real life examples of intimate, authentic male relationships. What y'all got?
I mean, I think that there's a lot of different ways that you could identify that. I mean, there's fraternal relationships through hunting, like one of the other panelists said. I can't remember your name. The other thing is being on a retreat, going on a retreat with men. I was very active with a retreat program called ACTS in Louisiana. And it was an all men's retreat. They had women's and teens as well. But there's a lot of fraternal bonding that happens in those places because it goes back to the vulnerability. You go and you're able to be open, to be, I guess, for lack of better terms, vulnerable with what you've experienced in life, what's happened to you. I think one of the things that is lost on culture now is everybody's walking around with some level of trauma. Some, whether it's father wounds, whether it's past relationships, whether it's sins that we've committed and the grief and the anxiety that comes from that. And I think one of the things that would make us better men as a culture is admitting those things. oftentimes, again, we try to reserve that. We try to put our best foot forward. We try to put on that face and that show that emulates, all the things that you mentioned, John Henry. But the reality is that so many men are walking around today just riddled with trauma, pain, and it's not cool. It's not worldly, quote unquote, masculine to say I've been beat down by life and I'm struggling and I need help.
And I feel like it's amplified by, especially in sort of your more, I don't mean politically conservative, but more sort of traditionally minded circles of men, because it's almost like we so desperately don't want to be this feminine whatever thing, and for some reason, once again, the culture has tricked us into believing that having feelings is feminine, right? And I've had conversations with my spiritual director. I've had conversations with other men. A lot of times, what I think we do is we'll pour those emotional needs, right? We want to talk, we want to work this stuff out, and we'll pour that into our spouse, or we'll pour this into some female in our lives. And it's not fair to them. I'm pouring into my bride and trying to like, here, let me take some of this and put it on you, when that's not my role in that relationship. And it's because a lot of times we don't have good men who are going to understand that at a deeper level and be able to.
Or on the inverse is that we keep all of that inside of us and we start to push our bride and our children and our responsibilities away.
Right.
Because you don't want to admit where you failed. You
and
don't
find 100 ways to numb those feelings.
Oh, 100%.
Will tear us
100%.
apart.
I mean, we live in a society where like Trump and guns and beards is men, and it's like, no, it's not.
Our society has done a really good job of tying masculinity to consumerism.
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
Tying masculinity to things.
Absolutely.
Like you said.
That later.
What's that?
I'm so using that.
Yeah,
later.
it's true, man. Somebody said that to me. I never have good ideas. This is all stolen from other people. And it was like this eye-opening thing. It's like guns, beer, football, all these things. How can I pay money to demonstrate my masculinity to people around me?
Let me prove to you how manly I am.
And none of them, right? When the most manly guys I know don't do any of those things. They're really good, virtuous husbands and fathers. And
sure. I just had a really good example. And it made me think about how by being virtuous in a group setting, it can actually open up one-on-one virtuous relationships. So an example of that is, thank you. So an example of that is I have a mentor here in town, and he's written books and he's done all these things where you talk about virtues, right? Or he talks about things that you can or should do. And it's one thing to listen to someone say it or read it from something that they wrote. But I remember being in on a retreat and he was there, and there was a bunch of his peers were around, and I'm younger, but I was just in the group, happened to be around some of these kind of more developed men, and all the guys were kind of going around, all Catholic men, actually all great men, I would say, but they were talking about the shows that they were watching, and you're like, oh, have you seen this? Have you seen that? Have you seen Ozarks? Have you seen whatever these may be, and all the shows that were popular on Netflix and all of that. And it got to him, and he does have kind of a upheld position in this friend group. And he just said, there's enough bad stuff in the world. I just tend not to watch that sort of thing.
Awesome.
And I was like, huh.
Very good for him.
And
That's brave.
and it was just, he just did that. And there's these little things where, hey, he says, whether you have money or not, like you only need to go up to a certain point. So you see what car he's driving. You're like, I know you can afford a way better car than that, but you are humble in that way. And so these things that, the values we profess, you say it in a group setting, so that not only you see that as an example, and then it encourages others to not fall into the trap of the societal things, but then also in private, you then feel more comfortable when something does come to you. Again, the comfort level inadvertently goes up, because when that true virtuous kind of calling or need that you have in your heart, that person will probably receive it well, because you heard them say this, and you might not even have that personal relationship before, but it's kind of this hack into, hey, if you share this in a humble way with a group of guy friends, then the 1 or 2 out of the 10 that might be in there that actually are seeking that, then you then open yourself up to have that relationship with them.
Well, it's a beautiful way too to evangelize in a small way without sort of that hard evangelization of me looking at you and saying, let me talk about Jesus with you right now. We have a mutual friend who struggled with some substance abuse and is totally sober, has been for a long time, married, got a lot of kids, he's rocking and rolling. And he doesn't say curse words and he doesn't drink, right? I struggle with curse words and I really like to drink, right? And so that relationship, and not once has he, I mean, he's really been that guy. No, I'm not going to have one. I don't drink, but no, knock yourself out, man. Feel free to have a beer. But those things have caused me to really re-examine myself and my life and how I behave. And it's almost like just a slow sort of notch up. And we're never going to get there this side of paradise, right? But it's just, it's beautiful, the sort of examples that we have. And I think we are innately attracted to it, which is why I think we, and by we, once again, I hate to keep using the word society, but I think that's the best word to it. Our society lampoons that, people who are, the goody Boy Scout, Opie, kind of mentality. And I think it's to sort of mask that secret longing we have to just be good.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's what we're after.
Oftentimes the word modesty comes up pertaining to women, but that's an opportunity for men to exercise their own modesty and put their own modesty on display of, maybe I am more financially wealthy and I can afford that. I can also take that excess money and do something to help, society, or contribute to my church, or just tithe more for, or earmark it for some particular project.
It's like a modesty of mindset almost, instead of modesty of appearance. It's like your mindset has to kind of come down and almost, like you said, be humbled in a way. Instead of, being loud and rambunctious, sometimes it's okay to just be a little more reserved, or to be a little more conservative in speech or conservative in action. It doesn't always have to be, this crazy out there thing.
Yeah, I had somebody define modesty one time for me as keeping private that which should be kept private, right? And I love that definition because it applies to our bodies, sure, but it also applies to our speech. It applies to the things we talk about. It's the reason I'm not going to have a conversation about some deep marital issue or something with Nick or somebody else who doesn't have a right to that information. And we as men, I think, feel oftentimes that we're sort of excused from the whole modesty debate because nobody wants to look at me in a bathing suit.
Well, I think what you said right now, but also what you, I think it was you who said it earlier, it might have been Nick, but about you don't need to tell your wife there's certain things that you tell that best virtuous friend that shouldn't be told to your wife. Not that you're keeping things from her, but it's just better you don't
better
put that
handled
on her
by someone of the same gender.
And that's where it's like, there's, I usually use it to get a rile out of friends, but there's something to it where like your wife isn't your best friend.
I went off on that rant the other day, 100%.
And so, I mean, I agree with the tenets of what the stereotypical kind of phrase goes with, but this idea that, hey, this virtuous brotherhood and male friendship is there for a reason. And another example, this kind of came through, again, kind of an older group of men, and they're in the age where they've seen a handful of their friends like consider or get divorced. And so that virtuous friendship is like when your friend comes and says, hey, I don't know, is this just not working? And I just don't want to do this, and da-da-da. And what does the world tell you is like, well, they treated you wrong, so you go and you deserve you and do to this. It's like, well, the difference with the male friendship is, or any virtuous friendship is, this is what, like, no, you committed. Right. And that's not the option. How do you get, like, we're going to hold your feet to the fire, but also help you get through this in a way. And I think that's something that is very real. Fortunately, I haven't had to have that in my young marriage life just yet, but I know I'm sure it's sort of become, and it's great to hear from kind of older men who have been in that situation. And they have helped, not always, but a few of their friends.
Well, and I'm glad you said that too, because if there's one piece of advice I have, especially for young men who are looking for like good masculine relationships, look at the guys who are older than you that you look up to, the men who you want to be like, and go talk to them. Like, go hang out with them. You and I have a mutual friend, Dr. Paul Thigpen. He's a friend of the show, who is just such a huge deal to me and a mentor to me. And from the time I was an 18-year-old who was getting into all the trouble and doing all this stuff, I saw something in this guy. I was like, that's where I need to be. And I'm desperately trying to claw my way, very small baby steps at a time there, and have been for 15 some odd years. But I really suggest that finding good, use the word mentors earlier. I've got a spiritual director that I've had a couple different spiritual directors for the last 3 years, and I cannot recommend it more. It is the best thing in the entire world.
A little plug. There's a ministry I started helping out about a year ago called the Timothy Collective. It's new, but it's
Put it in the notes.
it's basically this idea of it's kind of this mentorship, but it's a little bit more than mentorship in this idea of like an apprenticeship
Mhm.
with the other, where like the mentor, the older individual is, how do you immerse them in the different areas of your life, so you as a mentee can see like, well, what is their marriage like? Like you're going over and having dinner with their spouse, or you get
Cool.
invited to, the nonprofit fundraisers, you see how they're in public, and they can help you with professional spiritual stuff too, of course. But this idea of 100% that's valuable. What's interesting though that I have found is there's so many young men who that might be made available, but they just don't want it because they don't want to be told
Right.
what to do, or there's too much time, or
Oh, so
whatever
hit
it may
your
be.
pride for sure.
And
yeah.
so, but I think if there is any, I would say that there are an abounding number of men out there who are good and virtuous, who are probably open to having that type of like virtuous mentorship type relationship.
Yeah.
And you just need to ask. So
I think so many of these issues we have with becoming the men we're supposed to be and forming the relationships we're supposed to form with other men come from sort of this innate selfishness that we're all born into. I quote C.S. Lewis all the time, but the one that I come back to all the time is he talks about how becoming a man is basically taking this mirror that you're born with that's facing yourself, and it's the painful process of turning it around to face outward and realize that you're not here for you. You don't exist for you primarily. And it's really hard. I think masculinity ultimately comes down to crushing that selfish person that we are like formed to be by our human nature and concupiscence, right? The fact that we're fallen, and it's painful, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So, do you have a spiritual director, Matt?
I do.
You were nodding, and
I do.
giving the opposite of the Missouri reaction you were giving earlier.
I love my spiritual director. He is a Legionnaire over in Atlanta.
Mine is too.
not
Yeah.
the one that's going to Rome soon, is he?
No, I think he's out in like Yellowstone right now.
Okay. All right. We'll talk later. We'll throw out names afterwards.
I found him. He was I went to Georgia College and State University for college, and he was there on a retreat. And I remember my first confession with him. He was just like staring at me, and his eyes were very like piercing blue.
Mhm.
And I remember just being so uncomfortable, felt like he was staring at my soul. So I closed my eyes, I put my head down. I could still feel it. So I called him out on it later, and everyone was laughing. But yeah, like a year later, I ran into him again. I was like, "Hey, I need a spirit director. Will you be my spirit director?" He's like, "Sure, we'll try it out."
Right.
We just met, and it's been so like perfect matching. It's like we were talking about those guys who can kind of push back on you.
Yes.
Like I come in, I start talking about something, I'm like, and I get going. I just like to talk and go on a ramble. He's like, "Oh yeah, let's calm down. Let's go back to this. Let's talk about this." And then he's all like, roll back. And it's just like, he keeps me in a very like good pace of life because I can just get so up there and
That's
out of
beautiful.
So I'm going to ask a question. I don't want to hijack the show,
Go for it.
but given the option of going to a mass where it's more traditional with a priest that's giving more of a, here's the reality of your soul and your life, would you rather that homily, or would you rather the homily of Jesus loves you and it's all going to be okay? And
Right.
Yeah.
The obvious answer is you want the masculine
right.
homily. Yeah.
Well, maybe,
but it seems like
maybe
those are
not.
fewer and far between.
And
Going back to the brotherhood, like we have to be charging the men
Right.
with the responsibility of being a man and conveying the message of the responsibility that is given to men. Like you go all the way back to the beginning. Covenant was made with Adam.
Right.
It wasn't made with Eve. And so we as men, especially Catholic men, have a responsibility to defend the faith, to uphold the faith, not only in our home, but also in our community. And I just
And
feel
it's the
like
result of our masculinity, right? That is part of our nature
absolutely.
as a man. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that, so this is that the risk of sounding devil's advocate, but I do become devil's advocate at times, but I think it's more the nuance of like the reality of meeting people where they're at, where there's a difference in like, if you truly want this person to become closer to God and become more virtuous, you might not take a certain stance with someone who's farther along in their faith journey
I think
than later
prudence
on.
absolutely
Yeah,
comes into
Prudence,
play.
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
So I
That's
think
where
that's,
that
I think
relationship
in like
comes
today's
into
day and
play.
world, there's like certain instances of people drawing lines when it's
Mhm.
like, hey, there's not. At the end of the day, evangelization and growing in faith is a one-on-one relationship with you and Christ,
Right.
and a one-on-one relationship with those around you who you view Christ through. And so, acknowledging, yes, there are certain things that, lines that can be drawn, but the way in which you deliver that, again, the right things at the wrong time or in the wrong way is the wrong thing to say. And so it's that prudence of when to say it and how to do it, and the investment to be able to get there with that
Yeah.
individual.
I read a book a while back, and it was I forget who it was. It was some missionary, and they were somewhere in the darkest depths of Central Africa, right? And this like village chieftain or whatever had converted, right, to the faith, and they were talking about how right after he converted and got baptized, he informed them that he was now going to bring all 7 of his wives out to be baptized as well. How great is this? We're all coming into the faith. And it was the missionary saying, now's not really the time to say, no, you can't have 7 wives. Right? That would be imprudent. He's very excited. His people, the priest is going to come here. And I think that comes into play now. I think, unfortunately, right, in our post-enlightenment modernist world, right, we're at a place where if you come in with a baseball bat, which is how I like it, by the way, like I needed that
Same
as a
here.
young man.
Yeah, same here.
That is what
Yeah.
attracted me to the faith, was these stories of saints and sacrifice and
Mm.
martyrs and all that. But we're so, I don't know what the word is, disordered as a society.
Watered
that
down.
You're right.
Mhm.
Temperance plays in a big way here.
But that's still meeting you where you're at, right? Because they see
Right.
that you're a man's man, so you like
Right.
that sort of like, this is how it is, and this is the battle aspect of it. But then there's others who, don't. And I'm not talking about being relative, right? There's truths that are truths, but the way in which,
Yeah, and I think that's why that relationship. That's why it's so important to have that friendship. You can't just go up to someone and be like, "Hey, we're best friends. Your life is totally wrong. Fix it." Like, no, you
suck,
gotta.
man.
I'm very lucky. I have a best friend of 20 years this year, and there's nothing that we can't look at each other and just be like, "Hey, man, fix it. Like, figure it out. Come on." That's like one of the biggest blessings in my life is to just look at him and be like, "Hey, you're messed up. I messed up. Let's do this together."
So we only have a few minutes left, but that is actually something that I really would like to talk about. Just sort of in closing, that's a good segue. How do you strengthen, right? Because every man who's listening to this right now has friends, right? Maybe there's superficial sort of the friendship of utility or pleasure or whatever, but they have people that they consider friends and that they probably, they care about, they're friendly with, they enjoy being around. How do you strengthen those relationships rather than sever them and go off in search of someone else, which I don't think is usually the right answer. It is sometimes, for sure. But how do you strengthen those relationships that we would have right now to try to transform them into these deeper, authentic male relationships?
I've noticed that crying with my friends has really helped. Like I was hanging out with a guy a couple weeks ago, and we went to a concert, and then we went back to his place. I stayed at his place that night, and we had some drinks, and we were just crying together, like just talking and crying about like God and how good He is and about our lives. And it was just like we just grew so much closer just because we sat there and cried together. It was beautiful.
So Matt's advice is find your friends and cry.
Yeah.
Well, I think that goes back to like sharing the intimacy, right? I mean, that's a really intimate moment for two men to be able to share and to have that level of love for each other, that you can share that. And I think part of strengthening is kind of knowing that you have somebody to share the cross with. Like nobody said that the road that you're traveling to in the pursuit of virtue is an easy road. And that's the reality that a lot of people just don't talk about, is how difficult life can get. And when you have that brother next to you to be able to carry that cross, I think that alone shares it, right? You know that you have somebody who's by your side, who's not going to let you fall down. Because I think behind that is like the fear of failure for all of us, right? That's such a motivation that keeps us from that intimacy. But when we share those burdens, and we share the struggles of the journey of manhood, of fatherhood, of being a husband, that really brings a really strong component to friendship.
Well, and I'm not trying to shoot anybody down, but I absolutely have friends in my life right now who not best friends, but friends who, if they came to me and started like trauma dumping on me and crying, I would be looking for an excuse to like slowly back away.
Right.
Oh,
I
yeah,
would
for
100% like, oh, my phone's buzzing and leave. Right.
Yeah,
and there's
yeah.
probably some brokenness on my part, but that's how I would react.
But that's like meeting people where they're at and
Right.
temperance in the conversation, kind of reading the room, engaging, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, and the stepping stones. I think you said that earlier. You have to know where to start, right?
Sure.
If a friendship or whatever is in its infancy, there's a right way to go about doing it. And if you are wanting to give any of that advice, then you need to be prayerfully discerning that too, right? We shouldn't just be ad-libbing every moment either, right?
I've got a good first step, and it comes from something that I've learned. So I think I've already told you this. We have the group of communities around Atlanta called Live on Purpose, and it's like virtuous young adults living together. And so one thing they try to do is like, how do you don't want to engineer it in a false way, but
Right.
how do you set an environment in which people actually want to start those types of relationships and grow together? And what I found is the one thing that is super helpful is simply prompting to ask permission.
Mhm.
And so I kind of say like, you just open up the door and invite them to come through, but you don't pull
Sure.
them through, right? And so an example of that is if you guys are at least on the same page, you're talking about any type of conversation, and someone says, even if it's like, hey, I want to get that job. Okay, great. Like, would you how can I help you in a certain way? Like, how do you want me to help you? And then so it's like, do you want prayers? Do you want advice? Do you want introductions?
Right.
What those things are? And then you say, could I follow up with you on that?
Mhm.
And then they say yes. And so by simply asking permission, you now then have the reason to then follow
Sure.
up, and actually that now you have the in, because it's not you intruding on them, it's them asking you to help hold them up to this
And it's not
standard
an
they want
affront
to
to
be.
my pride if you ask me.
Exactly.
Right.
It's just like, and it can go as deep as soft as like, hey, got this job or thing with a girlfriend, or like, I want to grow in Christ in this way, or I want to break pornography, whatever
Right.
the thing may be. It's like, hey, how do you want me to hold you accountable or help you? And then just do that and don't push it. And then you say, do you mind if I follow up with you on that? And then it really opens it up.
All right, guys. Well, unfortunately, it was a great conversation. Unfortunately, we have to end. We're going to be a little bit over today, but before we do that, we are going to shoot over to Julian real fast live from Tiger, Georgia, up there at the Life Team Camp. Let's hear what you got to say, Julian. Julian says stuff. All right, and we are back. Thank you so much. We are over time, guys. Thanks so much for being here. Really enjoyed y'all. Appreciate y'all coming to the studio. Would love to have you all back again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This has been Honest to God, a production of The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. Producer Dave.
Over and out.
Signing off. You say signing off, and I say over and out. That's good enough. See you guys. All right. Oh, that was great, guys. I really good. I think 4 hours on that. What is this thing? Is it attached to my body?
Oops, he did it again.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Patriot. We have a patriarch meeting. That's great.
Okay.
Who's on
Make sure
second?
that's on
Anybody
right.
else on second?
Let's rearrange these.
You're on second?
This
Yeah,
thing got.
well,
All right, I gotta go.
I'll be back in a couple weeks.
What area?
Thank you guys. Seriously, really, really
Great
appreciate y'all coming
conversation.
in.
I kind of like got a little
I
distracted because I
need
was listening to
some-
y'all.
Oh, thank you for your service.
Who's your spirit?
I'm diabetic.
Thank you. Seriously. Thanks for coming
You're
in.
diabetic? My wife's a juvenile diabetic.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure. Brother.
Yeah.
Who's your spiritual director?
Father Bruce.
Father John Van Dorp.
Oh, I know Father John Van Dorp.
I think this one's
Half the
like-
adults in Atlanta are losing Father JP.
Okay.
He did like a whole generation of like ties all going around.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
Yeah.
How it's like that thing is all the things over here were curved.
He's got to be
Okay.
early
That's
30s.
why I was picking up you and Ray.
base?
He's in it. He's in Sandy Springs.
Okay, so he's in the
He's in the house.
All right.
I'm so sorry. Whatever you're saying, I can't read lips.
No. Janice was like, move his mic. And I'm like going, okay. So I moved it closer to because he was off. But she didn't say how to move it.
Yeah.
Apparently she wanted me to move it like this so that you could see his face more.
Oh.
But then she texted like at 25 minutes into the, and I was like, Janice, not much time, but
Yeah, no, and then I don't know what even happened with that camera there. I freaked out because I'm like, what did I do? What did I do? I just pushed the button. I was letting it go, and then it blacked. So I'm like, this is my fault. I caused this.
you know that it wouldn't be fun.
Yeah, if it
and
would be fun without
exciting
some
if-
technical.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and honestly, I mean, I think Dave and I's response with the little front camera right there, that was
That's the
pretty.
way to do it. Exactly.
Hello, Miss
Hi,
Hannah.
what's going on? Good to see you. I was wondering if you're gonna be here.
No, I'm not here actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Okay.
actually leaving right now.
What?
Yeah.
No.
I'm kidding.
Oh, I thought you were like legit.
No, I'm sorry. I'm incredibly dry.
That's cool. That's
I'm
cool.
going right after you.
Yeah, no worries. Were you gonna use the restroom or?
No, I just did.
Okay, I got you. Well, then I'm next.
Did we get camera 2 kind of situated?
I
a bit
did.
better?
I'm gonna wait till they sit down,
Okay, yeah, that'll be better.
and then
Yeah, I have no idea what happened. Yeah.
So two big things. Just make sure you're recording audio,
Yes.
which you will, and then make sure that video is recording.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. All right. And so how will the video? Oh, so we need to go. Wait, this is already saved, right?
No,
Just
well,
your
you've got to Control S, or you can do it that way.
I'll just go ahead and save that, so I'm not. And should I just go ahead and make a new file so I don't record over this one?
Yep.
Yeah, because I know Julian told me about that. Like, hey, make sure you don't record over anything.
Well, he was recording in the multi-track window, and
Should I? Yeah. And I guess we'll just make another.
no, save it all in that folder.
Okay.
That's all today's recordings.
Okay, so that's A,
Yeah.
B, and then we'll just make a C, I guess. File.
New audio file.
Let me just do that Control Shift N that you did earlier.
Yeah.
So HTG 06
2024.
2024
C. Get this chair out of here.
Oh, no, not MP2. Does anyone still use MP2 or anything like that anymore?
Believe it or not, our automation system uses MP2.
Ah, okay. Well, don't listen to me then. I'm just
But it's a very old system.
yeah.
I mean, the software, it's a new system, but the software is was developed like 20 years ago, and they've upgraded it, but not to, like all those things over there, like all those icons, they all look old.
Okay, so if I wanna do that shot, okay, so reset it. Or do I just do
So you got to stop it first. Yeah, there you go.
Reset.
It'll go to 56. So yeah, there you go. And then when you hit start, it's going to do a
Countdown?
it'll count down from 10.
Okay, so I'll hit start.
And then the other thing too, when you did the slate,
Yeah.
which I guess we got to change that now, don't we? But you didn't have the camera on the slate, so all it did was make a bang.
Oh, I thought that you just wanted it for the audio thing.
Well, so that you can match up the audio with the video.
Yeah, I didn't know she wanted it in the video too.
Yeah,
That's on me.
but they'll figure it out. Well, you use Premiere,
Yes.
so it lines up anyway. If you
Yeah.
get it kind of close, it lines it all
yes,
up.
So
So
it should be fine.
it's not a big deal. I don't know why they do that.
Right, you want to have it in. What am I thinking?
Here, let me see that because she wants to update it. I'm sure.
Yes, I'm
this
sure.
Episode.
Silence. Lead time, go.
Well, when I told her I would be willing to do it, I definitely emphasized from the man's perspective, obviously.
Yeah.
Because I don't know squat on the other end of it.
All we're doing is talking about mucus viscosity. That's all we're talking about. It'll be great.
There's peanut butter.
Okay, just peanut butter?
Yeah.
Okay, just
Cool.
peanut butter.
Yeah.
They're very good, by the way.
Hi,
Hello.
you're on the other one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Sarah.
We actually did an NFP class with you, me and my wife, like 11 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, what's your name?
Jonathan D. Thomas.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
always remember names.
You can remember back 11 years?
So cool.
Fortunately,
I've been
still,
doing
yes.
it. I've been doing it. Well, I'm not doing it anymore, but it was, 10 years.
Really? Oh,
It's
so
amazing.
you were at the kind of end of your bit doing it.
Oh, no. That I was just starting. It was 10
Oh,
years ago. You were one of my early couples.
Interesting. That's kind of cool. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
no, I was a baby
I didn't
instructor.
realize you were teaching, like you were teaching a class or something? Or
I was
reading?
teaching a method.
Okay.
Mhm.
When you said I'm not doing it anymore, and I'm like, little TMI, I'm like, I thought you weren't doing NFP. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I switched to contraception.
whoa, don't need to know
But I'm
this.
here to talk about not using
NFP.
contraception.
A little
No.
conflicted.
So I'm glad to know you were.
That's really funny. No, I'm
Teaching.
not. Yeah, I was teaching for about 10 years and then
Hi there.
had to pull the
Have
plug
you been here before?
last year.
Oh, okay. You know where the pizza is and everything?
Hi. Good to see you again. Aw. And your wife is Jane.
Yes, ma'am.
I see. It's like a Holy Spirit thing. It's really weird because I'm actually really bad at names.
Oh,
but
I'm
there's
terrible.
something about my NFP couples. I will remember a last name and I should remember even the first. Even though
Hey, that's pretty impressive
Years
because I
and
imagine
years
at this point
Yeah.
you've had quite a
Yes,
few that
thank
have
you.
gone through.
That was clip.
Big Tom is our menstruation
Specialist.
expert.
That's right.
He's going to be telling everybody about that.
I'm behind Maddie today.
Estrogen.
This episode.
I know all about it.
this is hilarious.
It's going to be great. He's going to kill it. You,
No, I
you guys are going to learn so
I
much.
definitely emphasized to Janice. I said I'd be interested
Thank you,
in this
Dave.
one, but definitely from the man's perspective.
So we're talking about both the pill and NFP. Is that the idea?
I don't know. You tell me, John Henry.
Have we met? Have
I
we ever had a
only work
conversation?
off prompts.
I have no idea what's happening before I walk in that door.
All I
And
knew
then
was
I learned.
NFP.
NFP
Wherever
and the
that
pill.
goes. I
NFP
mean,
in the pill. That's what
Cool.
was my understanding.
yeah, I mean, I would imagine naturally it kind of
Goes
touch on
together.
some of that, right?
And hey, just because I worry about this stuff and I feel like our personalities are similar, so I think you'll worry about it too. No one remembers what you saw on the last show. That was forever ago. 10 billion shows have
Oh.
come out since then. If you feel like you're repeating yourself, I always get Travis. I probably already said this before. Nobody cares. Nobody remembers.
Yeah,
Just say it again.
That's a good
You don't
point.
have to like make an apology for saying something
I
again.
mean, I know what you said.
I've noticed that. Yeah. All right, your name.
But wait,
I'm sorry.
so
is
did we
what,
ever
Maddie?
meet?
Maddie, yes.
Did I
Maddie,
teach you
okay.
in person?
And
Yeah,
are you
over
at
at St. Catherine's.
No, this is my brother goes to school here. I just have
Okay.
a shirt.
Okay, and how are you connected with this?
I never
I'm
taught
almost-
St.
So
I'm
I
almost
was
positive.
St. Peter's Signer right now.
Uh-huh.
Janice
Oh,
just
cool.
was like,
It was
hey,
in person.
have
I
you
don't
ever
think
worked
I
with
ever
someone
taught it.
else?
Oh, maybe it was
Help us?
online.
I'm like,
It
sure.
could have
Oh,
been.
cool.
Okay,
Well, thank
definitely
you so
doesn't
much.
matter.
What do you guys
I'd
charge
have
for
to
your
Oh my
shirt?
gosh, ask her because it's going to drive me
Yeah.
nuts.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, I'll
Yeah.
text her.
That's a good pair.
So that way,
Oh,
maybe
I
by
follow
the end
Neil a
of
lot.
So
Oh,
funny.
he's awesome.
Yeah.
I love him.
His nephews
your last
and
name's
nieces
Ramonte,
all
right?
go to
Yeah.
the school that I.
So
I
Are
work
Are you
with.
at St.
Uh-huh.
Catherine?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so my
This is
father-in-law
cool.
could do that.
So in,
Okay,
in college, you're in high
father-in-law.
school.
Yeah,
you're
Yeah.
working?
he's actually my spiritual
Okay.
director.
Oh, okay.
And I go out with
Sorry,
Mark
if I
all the
offended you
time.
by saying you're in
He's
high
yours.
school.
I was
Risky.
going to say, yeah, they're there.
Actually,
I mean,
so
this
I had like a graduation dinner, and I had this nice little
It's
dress on. I
just-
went to the bathroom.
Mhm.
This
There
guy
are
was like,
three of us.
"Oh, you
Three
look good.
sister-
You know, what are you
Three of the
celebrating?" I'm
sister-in-laws
like,
are
"Oh, I
pregnant
just
at the same
graduated."
time.
Oh, did you graduate
So,
like middle
Mark
or
and
high
Caroline are
school?
one of
I
them.
was like, college.
I'm 22 years old.
I'm 22 years
Yeah.
old, college degree. But I look, and these little braids don't make it any better. But
That's a good.
I
That's a
get
good
the
problem.
same.
Yeah, I mean,
You'll
Yeah.
appreciate that when you're older and you're
Yes,
married with kids and you get
These
carded.
are
I
like what
tried to
people
tell
laugh
myself,
at
no,
or
because like
something.
I've been
The
carded so
person
many. Like I was
laughter.
like driving like a golf
That's
cart.
about
So
where
we
you
went
want
to
it.
a vacation in
Yeah,
Florida, and
a
we
little
were in this
low
little
in some
area, and we got like
spots, but-
right where there's a golf cart. So I'm
That's
driving
fine.
by,
We
and I'm
can-
like
we
19
can
at
work
the time
with
when this happens. I pulled to like the little, I guess like little gated area, and the gentleman's like, "Ma'am, can I see your ID?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." Because I'm like, whatever, I'm 19, it doesn't matter. So I get handed to him. He's like,
It'll be great for when you're older.
Aw.
That's really
But
funny.
I mean, like, it's just, you know, I mean, it's a common comment I get.
Because the mics
Really
are actually
20
being controlled here.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I never get carded anymore. It hurts my feelings.
I don't either, man.
Yeah,
But
weird.
they just look at the gray and the
I
beard
know.
like, don't need an
I mean,
ID.
I look at you and I think you could be walking across campus right now.
See, exactly. I could be a freshman.
If I shaved it, though, that'd be a different story.
See, I feel like when men shave their beards, it like takes 10 years.
I
off
agree.
their
Oh, it's got
Yeah.
to.
My brother,
I have
All the
a
gray.
chubby, round
Yeah.
face like a baby.
yeah.
I look like
Really?
a giant
I think
thumb
that's the thing.
when I shave the beard. I look like somebody just like drew two eyes and a mouth on my
I
thumb.
like you better with the beard.
Me too.
I
No,
really
my
do.
brother started growing out his beard, and I hate it because he's younger than me, but he's 6'1" with a giant beard, so he looks significantly older.
Yeah,
than
yeah.
me.
I was actually surprised by how cool it was last time.
Not really. I'm just a sweater.
Are you hot? Yeah.
I'm always
I
hot.
was at
You
Kroger
hot?
10 years ago, and I was buying beer, and they carded me. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh, I look pretty young. And then the next day, they said, do you qualify for the senior discount?
That's really funny.
Yikes.
Well, you had your moment of youth.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if it's Jake. How does this work? Because I got.
I got carded in a gas station buying beer not too long ago with all 5 of my kids.
I was gonna say the
It's
kids
like,
are the
really?
deterrent for
This
me.
is all just a big thing. I'm 16 years
Right.
old, and I paid all these kids to come in here with me
No,
so
you're
I could buy this
you're the
6-pack of IPAs.
You're the male babysitter. You're gonna
Yeah.
drink while you're watching.
That's it,
Or
exactly.
like the older brother that's forced to babysit his siblings.
All right, you guys go ahead and sit down.
Oh yeah.
Anybody?
Y'all
Oh my
pick where you
gosh.
wanna go,
Put me in
and
the
I'll
corner.
just
Hide
find
me.
Yeah.
Nobody puts bacon in the corner.
Closer to
Oh,
our
who
lady,
loves
the
that
better.
movie?
It's a good movie.
Hide me.
I need to
So
watch
just
R.I.P.
gonna be
it.
Patrick
behavioral?
Swayze.
I
on the
actually remember
panel?
we went to
I
Universal and like we
believe so.
went
Is there a
on like
fourth
all the
person?
attractions. Because like, all
That
their
I do
attractions
not
are based
know.
on their movies.
Yeah.
So then what we did after Ride
Sure.
on the Ride,
No,
so me and my family were like, let's watch all the movies because we hadn't seen Twister.
Oh.
We hadn't seen like all these.
I just watched Twister with my
Oh,
kids
where did you
like
find
2
that? I
nights
was looking
ago.
for that.
Oh, yeah.
I got it
Oh,
like a
okay.
$5 dinner at Walmart.
Yeah.
It's one of, there's nothing like there's some bad
I can't-
language, but there's no like sex stuff or anything like that. It's like scary, cool action.
Yeah,
It's a really good
it's
movie.
kind of like a realistic kind of horror movie
Yeah.
without like all that.
Yeah,
Which
nothing
without all the
supernatural.
stuff like the horror that I don't
Yeah.
like about it.
Yeah,
Like, so serious.
I'm a sucker for campy, terrible horror movies.
Hey, it's like the 70s horror. That's
Yeah.
fun.
It
That's
was fun.
You know, it's like everyone's
Janice
dancing,
told
everyone's
me
running around like,
Yeah.
to move the
Oh,
mic.
like the supernatural stuff freaks me
I was
out.
thinking
I don't like
oh,
that.
yeah.
you couldn't
See, I
hear
don't
him.
like any of like the Saw movies, like anything like that weird. No.
So I moved it
Unnecessary
closer
gore
to
and
his
stuff.
I
face.
love the psychological
Yeah.
stuff. The stuff that's like this is really good. And
You're
I
gonna
love
have
it.
to
scoot in
I
on
like
that one.
it in your mind because it's like that's scary to me. That's true.
Rotate under. Come under.
Oh, do we still have a
Third camera should be
blank
right
camera?
there. That's
Well,
fine.
if you do that, it's,
Or, sorry, did I mess it up?
well, no, it's fine. We can do that, but it doesn't pick up the audio. I mean, you got to kind of have this pointed at your mouth. So when they're pointed straight up in the air,
Is that gonna work?
Oh, okay.
All right.
You're right.
Sorry. Just
I'm wondering.
Yeah.
There you go.
getting in the way.
Okay.
I think you're doing great, Nick. Just so you know.
Mine's coming out soon.
Norfolk Southern.
How you liking this thing?
Check
I
1
do
2.
like it. I made,
1
I
2.
made some jokes on the last episode about Britney Spears' "Oops, I Did It Again" concert.
put it right there. Nobody will see it.
I know. I was like kind of like trying to stifle my laughter, but then I realized, oh, my mic's not on. Just
Oh, you can make all the noise you want over there. That's nice.
I'm screwing
Do
it
we
all
have
up.
Is it just
Don't
three?
touch it.
Just three? Katie's coming.
What about my massive mug? I don't want that to be in the way.
It's fine.
Mug is just fine.
Perfect.
All right. and
It's going to be some weird rabbit
Do I have
hole
time to go
down.
grab a
It's
bottle
gonna
of
be
water?
great.
And then you're supposed to come up with the
Alright,
title.
come on.
Carol
Cool.
goes,
Appreciate you, man.
And then you come up with the title. Oh, did we
Oh,
do
okay.
one
I can come up with
purpose?
titles.
No.
So Jonathan.
Oh, Jonathan's got to do bumper after this.
Oh, what?
You could do
Bumper. Hi, my name is Jonathan. On this episode of Honest to God, we're going to talk about dudes and masculine relationship. We'll write it up for you. You just have to read
Okay,
it
okay.
into a mic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you so much.
Remind me of your name one more time. Valera.
Yes.
Don't spell it for me because I will not write it. I will only write it phonetically, regardless of how it's actually spelled. Valera. Valera. Okay, I dig it.
Write it out.
What's the etymology of Valera?
I've tried to figure it out. I think it's Dutch.
Dutch?
Means sailboat. That's the only
Cool.
thing I can find.
Yeah, like 15, 20 seconds.
You know, it's really usually writes out for
Yeah.
him to read. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Sarah, do you mind tossing out the trash? Thank you, ma'am.
It's got them right
and
here,
Yeah.
and then
while
we got a
you're
camera
here
three
and
with
watching
him.
all that, Did you write out the promo
And then,
for
of
the
course,
first episode?
And we're still on the fisheye.
I don't know.
Just like the
Yeah.
little bumper thing.
Yeah, like-
Hi, this is Jonathan. This is Jonathan. On this episode of Honestly God, we talk about male intimacy and companionship and how it is sorely needed in the 21st century.
Then how to go through the.
If not, there you go.
camera.
Okay.
The
Can
camera
you write that down?
style.
I'm sitting in the show notes Benny spot. How you doing?
Not too bad, but you.
I'm Katie.
Jonathan.
I don't have anything to write.
I've never really been able
I'm the only
to
guy.
figure that out, but I mean,
Aside from
What's that?
You're your lactation consultant for this episode. Right?
I don't know.
I'm going to introduce you as Jonathan, resident lactation consultant.
Resident bad boy.
Oh my god.
I know.
Oh man. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth.
Hey,
Of course.
I behave. I do a really good job on this.
It didn't say
Predictably
misbehaved.
unpredictable.
Yeah,
I broke
that's
it.
an
I gotta
accurate
leave.
assessment.
I broke the camera. I can't do
Uh-oh.
this anymore.
Oh no, is it my
Beans.
camera that's
Yeah, I broke-
broken?
yeah,
Oh
you
well,
broke
that's
it. Way to go. I'm blaming this guy.
it's all right. It's gonna be great.
There you go. That's
I got nothing but
It's
confidence.
always John's fault. It's always John Henry's fault.
Exactly.
I said the Spotify downloads are going up.
Who's got a camera?
I do.
So-
Take one. My phone's
Oh, that's good because then I can put this on Instagram.
Is it ready? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait,
I
it's me. I don't
feel like
I don't like it.
Fix your
grass
hair.
pollen's
Oh, it looks so good.
Thanks.
Boom. I'm actually really proud of myself. I don't know how to do that. I'm never the tech guy.
All right, 4 panelists. Yay, look at Marge. Yay.
Oh.
Good stuff. Okay, and John. No, I'm gonna get John to show notes. Here we go.
Well, it just got turned off, so
Oh, I was going to take a picture.
Sorry.
It's like a real life shot.
Okay.
Oh, it's
I'm still
Selfie.
fixing the camera, so I'm just like,
good.
Selfie.
aw, cheese.
I'm gonna send that to you, Janice.
Yes, please do. All right, I'll step out.
Okay, there we go.
I'll be by myself.
We all need to get one in front of the Quest sign sometime.
But you're good.
No,
Or you can stay in here.
She's gonna, no, she's going. Dave's leaving.
Right.
So we need to give her a laptop in case she goes.
Dave, where are you
"Oh, I
going?"
need something." And I could not.
These are new.
You haven't seen those yet? I just put one in my pocket.
Nice.
They were sitting out
That's
there
so
the whole
fun.
time.
So before I made this face, I literally said what I said right before the other show, which is, "All right, guys, fake laugh on 3." I was like really yucking it up, and that's the one they grabbed. Which is cool.
Once you
No,
have to
it's
take the
fine.
head,
Yeah.
once you take the picture, it can never go away.
It's true.
Be mindful.
And sometimes they'll get you kicked out of St. John Bosco Academy. Every kid we've ever kicked out has been directly tied to a phone. Every single one. Every single one. We haven't kicked out a ton, but like
I think that fixed it.
maybe
Maybe.
one every year on average.
Oh, it is still
Always tied directly to
I
social
don't know
media.
how to
Something.
fix that.
Gross.
That's unfortunate.
Is Julian coming?
No, Julian's not here today.
What?
He's up at Cove.
He is in Code.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. So no producer Julian.
I'm writing it down right now. I did
Are
it
we
on the
without a
last one.
producer today?
We are without a producer.
Yay! Producer Maddie.
First time Maddie. And
Producer Maddie, I'm stoked.
First half that he said.
Producer Maddie.
First half of this one?
Of each one, he said he would.
Oh no, I put it on the second half
Okay, well,
for the last one.
I'll
I'll do it on the first half this time.
Janice
Yeah.
moves that door is curved.
So I think
Okay.
what it might be is like
I'm gonna give him like
camera
a minute and a half. Last time he said specifically 45 seconds.
Yeah, you did.
So is it 45 seconds for
Yes.
both of them?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
That's what he told
Do
me.
we need both the house lights on and the spotlights on,
You know
or?
what? Last time we turned them off, there were
Yeah, we
weird
did.
Shadows everywhere.
Oh.
Standard fixes it.
Look,
Standard
I could
fixes it.
switch
Now I
from
need
one
to
off
go
maybe,
back
but-
and
Do
Oh,
the
turn the fan on. That sounds nice.
No,
fan
it
will
shows
No,
cause
the
it
fan
really-
makes it
Oh, that's
strobe in
right.
here.
We do have a fan going on underneath.
did that fix it?
Yeah, that fixed that.
It was online.
Andy,
The
we
shit
just
was
gotta tilt it up.
on.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see
we
it.
gotta tilt it up so
Sarah,
we can see.
Am I allowed to talk about the fact that you're pregnant on the show?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I just found out.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Baby Tremonti.
Oh, yeah, we need lots more Tremonti.
Wait, so I didn't realize that's what you're saying. All three of you are pregnant right now.
Yeah. Wait, 3 of us. Well,
That's
3 out of the
awesome.
5.
That's
is
awesome.
Robin is. And Caroline.
Oh,
So-
wow.
Job
Oh, what? I
security,
knew
baby.
Caroline
I
was,
appreciate it.
Sister-in-laws. Oh my They're
Oh,
fine.
how far along is Robin?
Are you gonna lean up
It's
like
Robin,
that during the
so I'm
show?
just-
No. I'm going to sit exactly like this during the show.
Okay, perfect. Because
And then I'll move around a little bit from here, but no, I will not be. I was going to do the whole show like
Well, you got a
this.
bat,
Actually,
okay.
no, keep it like that. Keep it like that. That's very.
Is this good?
Very
Can you see me, Maddie?
Perfect.
How do I look?
Subscribe.
Thank you.
I'm ready for my close up.
But yeah, no, you're
Yeah, makeup,
you.
anybody? Yeah, Tana, right?
I feel like Dave comes in here and does
That
me
sounds
over
like
this
a good
thing.
day.
I feel like I'm somebody. Oh yeah, please.
See if you can move the mic.
Hey, Dave, can you run a comb through my beard a couple times?
And then this time my
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna leave you all alone.
and then this time my water bottle will not be in the frame like it was
I
last
walking my
time.
face the first time?
My water bottle was right in the.
Perfect.
And then Julian was like, "You need to kind of move
I was
that."
eating.
I just didn't tell you because I'm a fiend. No, he didn't say that.
Perfect. Yeah. It's kind of like, yeah, you've got to.
You were
Ah.
in the corner.
But where? This way?
Right there.
Strikes again.
Here?
Where?
Here?
Yes.
A little
Okay.
to the left.
Sorry,
A little more.
A little to the left.
you
Perfect.
just mentioned it, and I'm like, let me not be a fiend, and I can tell you.
We're not going to tell Julian we said
Pretty
that.
solid. He's watching live right now.
Are we going on?
No.
Oh, I thought it was almost time.
I'm in the chair. Give me a thumbs up. Yeah.
Woo!
All right.
Are you camera?
Camera
You're on camera
and
yourself.
well, hold on.
If you're not, then you could.
You would be in the like right over, like a little.
We're going to have to like.
Perfect. Yeah, you're in the perfect spot right there.
You're just going to have to
Just
stay
stay that
slunched
way the
over the
whole
entire
time.
time. Ouch. Your shoulders will not be screaming at you. I like this seat. See, normally that's my seat, but I got the corner seat this time.
Now the bad news, Katie, is I.
Tomatoes or garlic that I grew.
Oh, I thought.
Are you serious?
I thought that was like a compost bucket, and you were showing off your compost. Like,
Check
"Ah,
out
that's
my
cool."
compost.
I want the tomato.
Yeah, well, there, move your mic down.
Here, I'll
Just
get it.
like angle it down. We just want to make sure you
Here,
have your face
Here, I'll-
is too.
I'll get it.
Oh, I'm into it too.
The demons were saying how bad novenas are, and especially under Knox.
All the more reason for it.
I've prayed that one on repeat.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
started it that week, and so I was like, I'm gonna.
That Hallowed app keeps me straight.
That's really cool.
Oh my gosh, I love their beefed up Saint Joseph novena that they just posted. They just
Oh,
post
I
like a
didn't see that.
major beefed up Saint Joseph novena.
That's
And I'm
cool.
like,
I got to get on that.
I like it because Marky Mark's on it.
Marky Mark. Oh
Dude,
my
he
god.
does the fastest rosary known to man.
I'm still
Everything
waiting.
he does is
How'd I
like
be that name?
fast.
I'm still waiting on a Wahlberg family rosary. Like, let's get Jim, let's get Donnie, and Marky Mark
That would be
for a
pretty cool.
Wahlberg. We have a Bocelli family rosary, so how about a Wahlberg family?
With the Jim Caviezel edition. That would be pretty awesome.
Oh man, that would be so. It would be packed full of graces.
These microphones.
Yeah.
Hold on for a second. We're really good
Bocelli, like
this,
the
pointed at
blind
your
singer.
mouth over here, not
He's
so good.
incredible. Yeah.
Especially the two on the ends here.
Right here.
You're
Yeah.
gonna have to. Well, people have a tendency, like if you want to, you're
My-
talking to John Henry like this, and then you want to talk to this person, they have a tendency to look.
Uh huh.
So you got to kind of do this.
Never break eye contact with me the entire.
I'm just gonna
episode.
give you all the side
No
glance.
blinking.
If I need you, I'm gonna be like
Andy's
side
gonna come by
glance.
and
I might just
spray
try to have something.
eye
in,
drops
but-
in your eyes.
You deserve a cocktail.
Hey, water.
Just for the
Yeah.
sake of working.
In your eyeballs every time. Yeah,
I
love that.
actually
I
thought
love
about
this idea.
suggesting they do like pipes up the side and let us have
They
some drinks
got
right
it. Did you
there.
see the holy water bottle that does the long range?
If you drift a little too far away from the mic, if you drift a little too far away from the mic, Madison's gonna make some sort of signal.
Is that
to
holy
kind of
water?
remind you to get closer.
Yeah, I do actually.
Spray away.
Thank you.
What is that?
It's holy water.
Spritzer. Help yourselves,
Oh.
everyone.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, hallelujah! Yeah, 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 yeah.
Take one, pass it around.
Love the castor oil. Jeez, it is perfect perfume. It's actually pheromones in a bottle, but
Oh, great to know. Ah! Amen.
putting my holy water spritzer to shame.
Amen.
I like the fact that your phone's held together with painter's tape. I think that's cool. I'm all about that.
Hardcore. Hardcore.
And it's within 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Groceries done.
That's awesome. We pray it while we clean up the house after dinner. That's become our.
Random question. Does anybody have
I'm on a
Advil?
trip.
Have what?
Tour.
I've ibuprofen in my bag in the green room. Do you want me to grab it like
Yeah. if you
Mondo
don't mind.
fast?
I'm just
Okay,
getting a
I'm
pounding
gonna move,
headache.
like,
That's
right
cool.
next to me here,
That's
y'all.
really cool.
Okay.
I think it's awesome.
And we got nobody here. No, we do. We have Katie. I got Katie. I feel
She's
whoever's,
grabbed me some painkiller
whoever's
for my
in the
headache.
show or whoever's in that chair, it's like they don't exist unless they like
There's
make
so
themselves
much
known.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, come over here.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Maybe
right.
like kids with pneumonia.
In the Big Rock Candy Mountain,
This is so
all the cops have wooden legs, and
Um,
bulldogs all have rubber teeth, and the hens lay hardboard eggs. In the Big Rock Candy
Is that good?
Mountains, all the jails
testing.
are made of tin,
Okay.
and you can walk right out again.
So you know
as soon as
that
you're- Sorry,
I'm trying to do.
I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
Okay.
Hey, Madison. You know that her mic and 2 are on the same one, or on 2.
They are.
Yep, they're both
Yes.
on the same one.
I just.
I'm really impressed that you're even trying this job.
Um,
I don't know how to turn on a computer.
You're fine.
Ask John
You're
Henry.
fine.
It's fun.
All right, she should be good.
That's not true.
It's fine, you
we
really
did
don't need to
online
hear me.
classes. You
You
had
don't
to.
need to hear me.
You can
Alright,
at least
well.
turn it on.
That's because I have my husband there.
At least you're honest.
Well, thankfully her mic is on. I just want to make sure that when she does talk, everyone can hear her.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, you sound good. I just want to make sure because I was really enjoying the acoustic cover of
Oh, thank you.
what's going on.
Big
over
Rock
there.
Candy Mountains. It's
You
a
get the
classic.
liquid gels.
Thank you kindly.
All right, but yeah, we're gonna do the little. You,
Love Big
my
Rock
friend, are
Candy.
gonna do a very important job of doing the little clapper for
The clapper.
for what's his name? Jack?
Ibuprofen, anybody?
I might actually take
This episode is sponsored by Publix brand soft gel
Oh,
ibuprofen.
Only Kirkland
Can I have
brand is
one?
Oh,
sponsored
well.
this show.
Can I have one?
Costco
Yeah, of course.
and Bosco. That's where all my money
You probably
goes.
can't have ibuprofen.
I went
when
to
you're pregnant.
Costco
Oh, yeah.
this time a
Okay.
couple weeks ago.
That's
I'm good.
amazing.
You look beautiful. You're
It's
glowing.
kind of like a weird different world. My
I'm gonna
mom
call
goes
it
there for
the
work.
pool,
Because she has to get
baseball. I'm outside all
And
day.
she's
Well, I'm
like-
going to pretend it's pregnancy, but I've heard something about that today.
She wanted to get like a caramel, like
Holiness
pretzel
and
thing.
New
We had
life.
a
I
tiny
don't know.
caramel
Thank
pretzel.
you.
Yeah.
But, I found. Have you guys ever heard of like pocky sticks?
Pocky?
Yes. So basically, they're
there
this
you
really
go.
Like
famous
mom's
little
Mhm.
treat in like Eastern Asia. Yeah. Well, Japan they're really popular, but they
Oh, they're
made
like
it,
little stick things
yeah,
dipped
they're
in.
the
Yeah.
biscuit sticks that are like covered in like this little
Ah.
flavoring. So there's like chocolate, strawberry, cookies and cream. I really what?
Pockies?
Yes, I love those.
Pockies.
And like I eat them all, and they had like a 16 pack of them. I'm like, oh, what is this? And of course my mom was standing right there. She's like, let me get that for you. And I'm like,
Aw.
you can't go shopping with your grandparents without and say, oh, I like something.
Speaking of grandparents, Mama Michelle texted me. She wants a photo of us together.
Oh, she does?
Yes.
Well,
Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
sorry.
afterwards.
We're ready.
Afterwards.
I'm Taskmaster. Close the curtains. We're starting.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's rock and roll.
I'll hold on. We need to make sure that the door is shut.
That, but make sure you're recording.
Okay. Yes.
Me? Pray? Oh, spontaneous
I
I
prayer?
can pray. I'm
I'm
good at
Catholic.
spontaneous
You
prayer.
need to-
You
Rope
did it
prayer.
recently.
But I
You can pray for me.
No, she can't. I'm the host
Okay.
of the show.
Alrighty.
You can always,
I'm actually the moderator. I'm not the
always
host.
delegate.
Awesome. Okay. Great.
Can we get a clock? Sorry to be a prima donna.
Yes,
I
no,
just
we should get the clock. Let's start that. All right. Countdown starting.
all right. 5.
7, 4, 3.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, super pumped to be here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Honest to God, a production of The Quest, Atlantis Catholic Radio. We got a killer crew today. We got Katie, who's I've been on a lot. Katie, you're killing it. You're loving it.
I think this is like what my 4th time.
Nice.
Heck yeah! I'm so stoked to see you all.
Yeah,
I'm stoked to be here with John Henry.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be here with you, Katie. We got Jonathan, who I'm actually only going to call D-Tom 10,000 times because that was what I called him in college and
That's all
my
right.
whole life. Who's here back from last week because every episode of Honest to God is filmed live on a different location. Today we are in beautiful Boise, Idaho. It is really nice
Ooh.
outside. It looks exactly like Boise, Idaho, which is kind of like normal cities, except it's like 1997, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm digging it. I love it. Throwback here in Boise. We got Valera returning for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, it's been like a year.
It's
I think
awesome.
almost exactly.
Cool. Well, we're excited to have you here. And were we doing the same kind of topic the last time?
NFP.
Cool. We're going to dive right back into it today. And then we got the one and only, the irreplaceable Sarah Tremonti. I'm sorry, no last name, just Sarah on the show. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I was joking with her before, and she's about to realize it's not a joke. I'm just going to tell her to talk about the pill and NFP, and then I'm going to leave because she has a really super deep knowledge of all these things.
When
And
prompted, John Henry. When prompted.
and I solemnly swear. And then we don't have producer Julian tickling keys today. Instead, we got producer Maddie.
Yes.
What's up, Maddie? We're super excited to have you in studio today. Thanks for pinch hitting. Producer Julian is on a retreat somewhere in North Georgia up at Cove Crest. So
Playing messy games, which is the best part of any summer.
exactly. We're going to have him come in live for some commentary here in a little bit. But before we do anything, before we get the ball rolling on this episode about birth control, the birth control pill, and NFP, we're going to start with prayer. Do you mind, Sarah?
Sure. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, we come to you with hearts full of gratitude for just your beautiful call for couples to live in the beauty of NFP and really embracing your call to free, total, faithful, fruitful love. We thank you for the gift of the church and your Blessed Mother Mary to help guide us to you. And we just ask that you send the Holy Spirit to guide our hearts so that all of the listeners can feel just your sense of love and mercy, and ultimately just a call to continue to better ourselves and to unite ourselves to your Sacred Heart. Dear Mother Mary, help us to save our souls. Amen.
Amen. And the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
It's really solid. 92.5. That's the.
Don't
that's
forget the
favorite.
5-point girl
I don't do
bonus.
I don't do spontaneous, but
I mean, that was
that's
pretty
my
good.
shot.
That was pretty
My
good.
shot.
Yeah, that was really good.
Thanks, y'all.
We're gonna get started here in a second, but first, you're all veterans, so this should go fast. Can we do one fun fact apiece, starting with Katie?
Starting with me. My gosh. Well, oh man. For once, I was actually not prepared for the fun fact.
You normally kill the fun facts, Katie.
I normally do kill the fun fact. Well, I'll give a part 1 and a part 2 to this fun fact. Part 1 is I am the 3rd generation to have served in the military, in the same military branch, and I'm the 1st generation female to serve in
I
that
didn't know
same
that.
branch. Yes.
Are you still?
That's awesome.
Are you still enlisted? Are you a
Oh
reservist
no,
or anything now?
no,
Okay.
no. That's been no, that's long since done.
Nice. All right, what you got, D-Tom?
I just started drawing up designs for what I want to turn into a food forest on our property.
Sick. That's really
Aw.
cool. Actually, highly recommend. I had a rudimentary one at one point. It's the coolest thing in the world. It gets to where it can sustain itself, kind
Yep,
of. And
yep.
It's awesome.
Just remember your NFP instructor.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No, that's fair. If the whole like global supply network breaks down.
Remember your
Yeah.
I mean, that's the idea, right? We're going to build up community across everything. And
Well, and just so you know, we're going to include your address and GPS coordinates in the show notes. So in
Oh,
case
yeah.
the world
No
burns,
problem.
everyone can show up.
come on
Yeah,
down.
it'll be great. What
Get
about
some
you,
free
Valera?
tomatoes. Mhm.
My fun fact is I gave birth to my son at the end of March at home on purpose.
Nice.
It was incredible.
Was this your first?
Yes.
First time
That's
home
awesome.
birth. Heck yeah.
It was incredible.
That's
Everything we
super
prayed
cool.
for. So
Praise God.
Wonderful.
yeah, praise God.
I
You
love
are a
that.
superwoman.
My wife
Yeah.
had the last 2 at home, and before that, the first one was like all hospitally everything, and it was awful, and she hated everything about it. And then she
I hate
gradually moved
hospitals.
away, and now I'm way more nervous, like when she goes in labor than she is at all. She's like, I got this, and I'm like backing the car in case something goes wrong, so I can get out fast, all this stuff. But it's always just been easy and wonderful, and I know it's not like that for everybody, but praise God, our home birth experience has been phenomenal.
Especially for our first birth.
I
Because
know.
they continue
was
to be so
hard,
much longer.
But it was full of grace.
That's really great. Congratulations.
Wow.
What about you,
Me?
Miss Sarah?
My bumper sticker says honk if a kid falls out.
That is cool. We're taking the leap.
I'm stealing that one.
My minivan is about to die, and we're upgrading to the Catholic assault
Nice.
vehicle. We want to be on your level. Yeah.
You have to have that when you go to church camp.
15 passengers.
No.
Do you have a row? Do you have a row down the middle?
No.
Oh, okay.
But it does feel like an airplane.
It's pretty
The
cool.
cargo. We
Well, the
just need
minivans are so
top part.
low,
I
too.
know.
And I actually have a fun fact. My sister-in-law, my wife's oldest sister, just took her final vows at a convent up in New Ulm, Minnesota, Handmaids of the Heart of Jesus. We got back from the ceremony, and we got to spend about 4 days with her on a lake house up there to celebrate. And it was the best thing ever. So big shout out to Sister Teresa Rose.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's just 7 years in, and then they finally take their final vows. So it was really cool. So let's talk about something much less uplifting, which is contraception. We're going to get into NFP here for sure here in a little bit, but I do want to talk about, and this might be a rehashing of what we spoke about before, but that's okay. I want to get back down, go down some of these same rabbit holes and really talk about this, because and this is not just a shock value statement, I honestly believe that the introduction of hormonal contraceptives is one of the top 3, at least, worst things that have happened to Western civilization in the history of Western civilization. I'd put it above any of the, I don't know, big scary things that I can throw out there about war and pestilence and all those things. I think artificial contraception has so thoroughly destroyed everything about our society that I cannot condemn it strongly enough.
Totally second that, John Henry.
Yeah. Yeah, I was here. Actually, I have a birth control pill fact, or a contraception fun fact to kick us off. Did you know that birth control, as we know that that birth control contraception was what's the word? Permitted for the first time by a Christian organization, right? At the Lambeth Conference of the Anglicans in 1927, something like that. You guys know? I don't know. And it became, if you really trace it back, it all started, this is true, and as a lactation consultant, this is a fun fact, with the fact that Queen Victoria did not breastfeed her kids. And here's why. Queen Victoria did not breastfeed her kids. As a result, it became unfat. Did you know this?
No.
Oh, you're nodding.
We're fascinated.
All
Keep
right.
going,
So
yes.
Queen Victoria did not breastfeed her kids. And as a result, she got her cycle back really, really fast over and over and over and
That's
over
what I
again.
was assuming.
And she had all these kids back to back to back to back to back. And it became unfashionable to breastfeed your kids. It was seen as sort of lowly and something that poor people did. So more and more and more women stopped breastfeeding their kids across the whole Anglosphere, and then eventually Western, right, Christendom in general. And as a result, all these women were having a ton of kids, and it was like back to back, really harming their bodies. And as a result, right, not long after that, because we're talking Queen Victoria in the late 19th century, the Church of England had all of this pressure to allow contraceptives that eventually led to the Lambeth Conference, that eventually led to, the invention of artificial or hormonal contraception and the sexual revolution, and us all stewing in this modernist hellhole of Western society today.
Because having children is such a horrible, terrible, and dangerous thing
Oh, God forbid.
to happen to us in life, or so I've been told.
So I want to dig into that, though. I want to talk about the pill in particular. I just ranted for a minute. I apologize. I'll probably do it again later because I am passionate about this. But I want to talk about, what's that?
I'm sure there will be lots of
And,
rants.
and there should be. But
It's
I want to talk about, agree or disagree. I assume you guys are probably going to agree with me. But your thoughts on the pill and the destructive nature of the pill, and why we are in the situation we are in, and how that ties back to the pill. So I want to just kick that off, that really small topic right there.
I'll kick it off, John Henry.
Please.
Well, I will tell you, I will take you all back to about 10 years ago, to when 21-year-old and Protestant Katie Thomas was a junior in college and started having problems with feeling tired all the time, but not normal college student tired. I mean, we're talking like, I can't even get out of bed tired. And so I go routinely to OBGYN, and OBGYN says, oh, looks like you've got some ovarian cysts on both sides of your ovaries. And she assigns me something called the NuvaRing. And it's awful. 0 out of 10 do not recommend. I'm not going to tell you the great details of it. It's how it goes into your body, but it's supposed to be this kind of innovated form of contraception that is not actually a contraceptive. You actually can have children after using it, and the whole thing just turned into a awful mess. I became a raging lunatic and someone that I did not recognize, someone my family didn't recognize. I must have gained about 40 pounds, which they said that weight gain was not a symptom. And on top of all of that, my cysts did not go away. And they had to find an alternative method to somehow get it to go away. So it's not always about the pill, and it's not always about the IUD. It's about, something that they say is so scientifically surefire that it can do no wrong. Let me tell you, ladies, no, ma'am.
So I would actually like to dig into that some before we get into sort of the moral issue there and contrasting hormonal contraception, contrasting the pill with NFP. Can we talk? And I don't know what, D-Tom, I know that you're the resident expert in women's menstrual cycles here. Poor dude. He's here for the NFP portion, so we'll hold off a little bit. But can we talk a little bit about sort of the medical side of hormonal contraception? Because if this were not a show that had anything to do with faith and morality, if I firmly believe that if I were a total atheist right now, I would still have a serious issue with my wife or my daughters ever taking any sort of hormonal contraception. And you're seeing that a lot in sort of the quote unquote crunchy community now, sort of the more hippy dippy, earthy kind of people who are having this big rejection of it. But can anybody speak to the why?
I mean, I think that the coined term of like the Band-Aid usage is huge, because you have, someone in your case, Katie, who goes in with a medical condition, and that slap of the Band-Aid is just what's given. And ultimately it goes back to a lack of education we're going to get into with NFP. I've taught in my past different physicians and advanced practitioners about NFP, and it just completely blows my mind. But here I am sitting here way less educated than them, teaching them about natural family planning and human fertility. And It's like beyond me that they went to medical school and got these advanced degrees and that this information was not shared with them. All they know is the pharmaceutical. Let me slap the Band-Aid through, birth control pills, for example, to fix the problem, air quote, rather than really getting to the root problem, which is addressing what's going on.
And Sarah, it's amazing that you talk about education, because I wanted to really emphasize the fact that I was 21 years old and not Catholic, because had I been Catholic at the time, I would have avoided the whole big birth control contraceptive. I would have avoided that option altogether. It is, amazing how our Mother Church has, brought us throughout the course of history. She's brought us into, talking about, the beauty of life and the beauty of family and the beauty of motherhood. And I did not know the dangers of birth control and the dangers of what this would permanently and irreversibly do to my body at that tender age and at, the fragile state that I was in. And I am so thankful to be, completely catechized and to be in the sacraments and learning and growing every single day. But I would say I am incredibly blessed to be, educated because of the church and because of NFP and theology of the body and all of these amazing, amazing resources that we have today.
Well, and what's unfortunate, Katie, is you said had you been Catholic at the time, but that's still a really big if. I don't think that the numbers of Catholics who use hormonal contraception are any lower than the general population, because for some reason it's an uncomfortable topic that people are afraid to talk about, that it's awkward or something. And I've brought this up numerous times, but I teach a theology of the body class, and we really dig into a lot of just sort of sexual morality in general. And we spend a whole unit on hormonal contraception, right, on the birth control pill. And about 2/3 of that unit has nothing to do with the morality of it. It has nothing to do with why contraception is immoral. It has to do with with pulmonary embolisms and breast cancer and 1,000 consequences of hormonal imbalances and uterine lining disruption and all these crazy things
Death
that
by
nobody
childbirth.
talks about. Because, and I honestly think it boils down to people feel uncomfortable doing that, and that's lame. And also, real quick, sorry, just to keep digging, if you're a dad, right, if you're a father right now and you're listening to this, you're doing your daughter a really great disservice if you're not comfortable talking about her about things like this with her. And you're doing your daughter a huge disservice if you pretend like topics that relate to her body as a woman, if you act like those are icky or gross or make you uncomfortable. Nobody cares that you feel icky talking about periods. Like, grow up. I'm sorry. Act like a man a little bit. Pretend like you have a backbone. And don't make your daughter feel gross or like her body's bad when actually it's working like it's supposed to. And her fertility is a really beautiful thing.
I have a whole thought too on like throwing the pill out and it being the whole Band-Aid, approach that I was mentioning, and how fast forward, like almost that there could have been a plan where how that has fed into the whole IVF technology, reproductive technology. Because in my practice, the number of times that I have simply, and it's not the work of myself, it's my precious couples who are doing the work.
I'm sorry, but can you talk about what your practice is?
What do you do? Teaching natural family planning.
Okay.
So in the years of teaching natural family planning, it is amazing to me the charts that I have seen where it is most likely a progesterone deficiency, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the luteal phase is short of progesterone. You're not going to maintain a pregnancy. And so the woman either miscarries knowingly or she miscarries unknowingly. But nonetheless, it comes to be I'm infertile situation where it's not really an infertility issue. It's a maintenance problem.
Sure.
And back to Katie, your statement of the lack of education, if the pill hadn't been slapped on all these kids, there would have been an encouragement to actually learn about the body, to learn what's going on, and to have noticed that progesterone deficiency 2 decades prior to being married and conceiving, to then, benefit from that knowledge, to be on guard and be prepared with a treatment plan like supplemental progesterone.
I'm convinced that NFP is the reason why I have my son, because I knew I had a low progesterone problem. And so as soon as I got that positive test, I messaged my provider, and the next day I was getting blood work, had a progesterone prescription the day after that. And I was on progesterone for a long time. I needed a lot of progesterone to like the second trimester, but it's because I knew. If I hadn't known, then I don't think he would be here.
Same with my wife. We had some serious problems. We had a number of miscarriages, and it was progesterone shots that I gave her, and it took us twice a week.
That was how I knew my husband could handle childbirth, because he could give me all those shots. So I was like, he can do whatever he needs to do, and now I know for sure. So
that's amazing.
But from an education standpoint, I do want to dig into that a little bit, because I once again, I teach this NFP class. Believe it or not, teenage girls probably shouldn't hear all the ins and outs of their cycles and whatever from Mr. Span at the front of the room. It's probably a lot more comfortable if a woman comes in. And so you came in and you talked to all of these teenage girls who were in my class. I was gone, as were the boys at this time. But do you find, because I just don't live this life, my daughters are still pretty young, is there just a general lack of knowledge about girls regarding their own bodies?
I think the pendulum is swinging, and especially given where I was teaching, that kind of cohort of girls come from probably more knowledgeable families as is. But in general, there's just families are not talking to their children about the beauty of their fertility and what that means, what it's doing, what it, like, you're having a period. This is why you're having a period. This is what it means. Your body's ovulating. I mean, I could go.
Doesn't just mean you're a woman now.
Yeah, right. Apparently, you don't even have to be a woman to have a menstruation. But that's a whole other topic.
Speaking of the U.S. Army,
I'm going down my hole. But I do believe that the pendulum is swinging, and I say that because of femtech and all of the fertility awareness apps.
What is femtech? Oh, femtech.
So femtech being the technologies that are available to help you track what's going on with your body. And those are great things. And this like boost of fertility awareness in even secular society is great. It's a great start. However, you have to be careful, and I always guide my people and the language, because a lot of these fertility awareness apps, for example, will use more of like the contraceptive language, but nonetheless, it's a start because it's getting people to say there's something more. There is something different that we can do other than filling our bodies with hormones.
Right.
That's really good. I mean, because I feel like there's such a societal numbness to it. Like it's become such a normal thing to just willingly accept. I mean, they give out birth control like candy, and they start promoting it to the girls coming in like half the time before their menstrual cycles even start. And it's often for reasons of like, oh, you're really crampy. Well, I mean, unfortunately, you're
having some skin issues.
Right. A natural part of the menstruation cycle. And, just the way that it's perpetuated, I think makes it so widely acceptable to everybody that they don't even think twice about it at all. And the lack of education, I think, is what kind of keeps them from even realizing that there are other options out there like NFP that are far more effective and far more virtuous, really, in practicing it.
Yeah, the sort of medicalizing of like normal body functions is such a bizarre thing,
right?
That for whatever reason in the past 70 years or so, we've just gone full hog on and just said, yeah, no, we're just going to make all these things disappear because, I mean, and I can get real conspiratorial and talk about how much money is tied up in this if I want to. But at the end of the day, we have these young women and young men, because it stigmatizes normal female body functions and turns it into jokes or icky things or whatever. One thing I will say, and I've been really proud, God has, for whatever reason, blessed me with a like uncomfortable lack of awkwardness when talking to people. Like we have conversations at our dinner table where my wife is mommy's on a period right now and whatever, and it just comes up and it's not like a thing. Yeah. It's not like and now look at me in the eyes while we really discuss this in depth. But the same way we would have a conversation about some interesting
normal thing that's happening.
I know.
Yeah, because it's not gross and it's not weird and it's actually beautiful.
I'd have
really glad that mommy's body works right.
I'd have like a 5-year-old son see me, in the bathroom testing, the urine. And it was like not a phase in the world. It's like, oh, mom's testing to see if she can have a baby or not. Like this is normal.
And I know I keep hammering this, but I just want to come back to, if you have a natural, like sort of aversion to talking about things like that, which I get, that's not something that really came up a lot in my household growing up. It's okay, but understand that that's disordered and work to get over that because you're an adult. Yeah. And you can do that.
And I think it goes back to a lack of education. Yeah. A lot of times it's like glanced over because the families are like, I don't know it myself. So how can I actually talk about it?
Right.
So in their defense, it's pretty sad because they were never formed.
If only we could have something just magically go away, like say Roe versus Wade. Has anyone ever heard of that? Everyone hear that a couple years ago? I think that as much as of an uproar that caused to our country, and I know that we don't like to talk about politics on this show, so I'm not trying to on the show though.
I got a lot of thoughts.
Well, I think as uncomfortable as it made our nation and as uncomfortable as it was for us to stand there and watch all of the horrible graphic posts of botched abortions and, all of these horrible procedures that they say are healthcare, life-changing, life-saving, blah, 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 blah. I am thankful that people can finally be educated, Sarah, properly. And that we don't, Jonathan, have to slap birth control on kids, hand it out like candy. Say this is the end-all, tell-all, and this is going to save your life. We can finally have intelligent, healthy conversations about what is good and what is not good.
I think with so many of these things, we're in this position where we're so far after this major cultural shift, right? We're sort of the countercultural post-sexual revolution, whatever. They won totally. And now we're sitting here saying totally normal things that shouldn't be seen as weird. And it's treated in the larger culture as these radical, crazy things when everyone on earth felt that way like 100 years ago. It was the most normal thing in the world. We do have to take a break in about 90 seconds. We're going to shoot over to Julian real fast, live from Cove Crest in Tiger, Georgia. And I think he has some thoughts. And now he's going to cut in this, and there's going to be a thing. It's not live. That's a lie. Everybody knows it's not live. I say every show's live, and it's very clear that it's not. I started at 7, so 7 plus 45 is 52. So I'm just going to keep doing this for about another 30 seconds. And then in the last 30 seconds, would you mind giving us a shout out on some like resources like the FemTech or some other apps and stuff?
Sure.
We can wait till the end if you want to like take the break. Okay.
Let me think about it.
Cool. 12 seconds. Right? Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I hope that wasn't too. I'm really glad that nobody shushed
What's
me
that?
when I brought up Roe v. Wade because
You know,
that's
thank you so much.
Okay,
Julia.
good.
we were all talking a lot about what you were saying because we all heard it because this is live and was not recorded weeks ago. We are right now here in Boise, Idaho, but unfortunately, we do have to take a really quick break right now. And we are going to be back in 1 second. So we look forward to seeing you then. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Honest to God, a production of AM 1160 The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. And I ended 6 seconds early, Jack, and I'm sorry. I can just talk to the camera for a second. If you probably want to add that. I don't really know what you do with editing, but I appreciate it. All right, we can reset.
No, I think that that's a really good segue because to your, again, the theme of education. So much of my ministry has been educating in the abortifacient potential of birth control. And so there's a huge correlation between, contraception and abortion. So.
It's amazing how there are so many people. There was a topic recently in one of my women's group that talked about, what is one situation where you have, it's been scary to stand up for your faith or you've been pressured to turn against your faith. And I can't tell you how many times I have had my pride handed to me because I don't support abortion.
I feel like it's always better
there
to go
are
over a
women
little bit, 'cause we can always
literally
back out.
I mean, I've had
there gets to be
people
times like that
block
where
me on
I've
social
got like 6
media.
seconds
I've
and
had
it's like,
people
sorry.
The
Like, what do you want me to do? I can just
I've had people
ramble.
show up to
Normally
my
I will ramble.
workplace,
I'll just go on.
like
So I
just
looked up
to
and I
see
didn't have
what
5
I'm
seconds
doing.
worth of
I've been
content to throw
stalked.
up real
I've
fast.
been I've been harassed, and it's like, yes, it was uncomfortable as a nation during the Roe v. Wade overturnment, but I am so thankful that we can finally talk about and get back to what should have always been human nature.
Anyone need a water?
I need to fill up my bottle.
Are you going back there? Could you grab me the other Diet Coke from the fridge? Okay, thank you so much. No,
I'll bring one to you.
we can talk about literally anything, y'all. I'm not if the Quest hates it, they'll nix the show, which is fine. And I'll just go on YouTube and maybe an app.
You've kind of hit on the outskirts of it a couple of times, but I think like the outrageous hormonal impact of birth control that it takes. I mean, it's just so unnatural, and the idea that people think that changing your body's cycle is in any way, shape, or form healthy,
right,
or good for you is just abhorrent.
What about the importance of not contracepting with the young kids and that whole mate selection thing?
So that's I'll spend 2 hours on that.
That is beyond.
Start with it. Open with it. The mate selection thing, and
you're talking about
the gay monkeys, right?
Yeah.
The gay monkeys. Yeah, talk about the gay monkeys.
I think we brought that up last time.
Good. Let's do it
Dude,
again.
that would be great in reality.
No, my mom, she used to be on birth
I'm
control
like,
too, but she stopped.
Is it like learning?
Review.
John Henry, what you wanted resources for what at the end? You want resources for
the femtech, the stuff to help women understand their bodies. You mentioned something about apps and stuff.
Hey, is anybody here allergic to peanuts
Like
or
to learn
anything,
about
or
their
oats?
fertility.
But if you can,
Well,
if you
then
can give them like resources, like check
Thank
out
you.
this website or
Websites,
this app.
something like the FEM website, which is like NAPRO, but a little bit
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, talk about NAPRO or whatever.
Okay.
I just want, if I'm
You wanna
listening
do
to
that?
this, yeah, please do that. That'd be so great. But we're
Let's see
opening
what the
with
NAPRO
Gay
one
Monkeys.
You can say gay monkeys. I'll talk about
Thank
mate
you.
selection.
And then I want to
But
bring up
gay
can-
monkeys
and he
are
can talk about menstrual
intricately
cycles.
involved,
No, I know.
and then you're going to go into lactation. I
And
don't know how that
menstruation.
ties in with the other things, but you'll
That just
figure it out.
reminds me of Meet the Fockers. I've got nipples, Greg.
Can you milk me? Yeah. It's a
I
great
want to
movie.
talk about how the mainstream media is kind of make all of this out to be misinformation as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
was
that's
a-
outrageous.
There was a Washington Post article where they like reached out to all of these people. Were like, we want to talk to you about your stance on birth control.
Oh
Like,
my gosh.
we want to open up the narrative, and then they were just like saying this person is spreading misinformation. This person's spreading information.
But
But they were
then-
like citing their sources, and they're like, these are right wing extremists.
Yeah.
But then the CDC even accepted the efficacy of natural family planning appropriately.
But did they
which
really?
is
The CDC did a
Really?
good thing?
Yes.
It's the first time in my life CDC
Yes.
did a good
Really?
thing.
Wow, something
Yeah.
that roll my
That's
eyes out.
surprising.
That's
Yes,
wild.
they stated.
Well, now I have to
Wow.
rethink
What
my
about the
stance on it
idea
because
of-
the CDC says it's
I think
okay.
that was even before.
What about the idea of how much more nefarious this all really is?
Oh, get into
That
it.
Oh,
you
we
know
can
the
talk about
devil
that.
is really behind it, and it's leading to mass sterilization
Well,
because
it's Pandora's
year-
box.
right. And
It
years
opens
and
up-
years of birth control, like there are women who end up not being able to ever have kids
Mhm.
because of the repercussions of having been on birth control.
Another
Right.
thing that was brought up at
Right.
a women's group I went to last week was why is birth control covered by insurance but not the test sticks? Why
like
doesn't
ovulation
insurance?
strips and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
that's
supposed to
interesting.
cover preventative care and things, but why are they not like helping us learn about
Insurance-
Because
our
NFP
body?
is not effective.
No,
Yeah.
doesn't tell you anything to test your
If you
LH.
Think about it. They would want to have as many kids as possible, in a sense, because that means they stay in business.
Right.
More people, more health issues.
No.
You're gonna,
Well,
unless-
something that I learned when I
Well,
had
because
a baby
pill
was
and other things are actually creating.
I can do a
No,
deep,
because I had that,
deep
like,
dive
big
on
issue with, like, both
pharmaceutical whatever.
Well, no,
conspiracies.
Yeah, no
I was
doubt
trying
about
to
that.
figure
We're
out
not
if
even
there was a way
comparing.
to like
No.
not have to bring my child to a pediatrician because I was so worried about being pressured into all the shots.
Do you have a
and
good
all of these
pediatrician?
things. I did find a good
Okay, good.
pediatrician, but I
I was
was
gonna say,
like,
we
what
got
if I
some.
just
We can-
don't bring you to a pediatrician? They can take your kids from you for medical negligence. And I was like,
iron is low.
so they're making money that way too,
And
because then you have to go to the doctor.
Don't even get me started on that.
Nope.
The money.
Oh, dude, we
You
really
go to
could talk
Harvard?
for hours on that.
Yeah.
The medicalization of birth to
there's
itself,
some
like
doctors out there,
everything
they're
has been
wonderful,
medicalized
they
around
really
women's
help
bodies.
people, but
Like
for
women,
most of them,
there's
it's
Oh.
oh my gosh, there was an OBGYN who went viral in both a good way and a bad way, saying women's bodies try to off themselves every time they have a baby. We don't know how to give birth. It's been killing us since the dawn of time. It's
That's
like,
why there's no more women.
Right.
like, don't you know how you got here?
You say medicalized. I prefer the term commoditized, which is even grosser because it's another objectification of women
Yeah.
in this liberation BS that's been.
I'm
Yeah.
good.
Do you know Allie Beth Stuckey?
Hmm.
Stucky.
I'll watch her.
Okay, she
Thanks for closing that up.
is
John, thanks for getting that and closing it.
she is Protestant. She is
Nobody's perfect.
no, I'm saying, but to understand her approach,
Oh, right.
she is brilliant. She interviewed a provider who just left the IVF industry,
Mhm.
who kind of exposed all of the like
The commodification of children.
That was great.
and how it went back to, and Allie even mentions it, which people don't talk about, but back to Pandora's box,
Mm-hmm.
how people don't talk about how, well, with IVF or with the reproductive technologies, like if you went all the way back to the box with masturbation, like that whole distortion of separating babies from bonding and what that has brought out, then you wouldn't have, the disconnect, and so that babies and bonding would stay connected. So then you're not promoting masturbation. Then if you're not promoting masturbation, then you're not. There's no retrieval of sperm for these technology. It is absolutely
Talk about it all on air, and we'll go over if we have to,
Mind-blowing.
and we'll do the other stuff on YouTube.
All right, let me just.
Wait, monkeys?
Yeah.
saying monkeys?
You're,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm,
thank you.
I'll introduce you with gay
Let
monkeys.
me get the. Let me hit play
That
first.
sounds so funny.
Okay. Part 2? All right. And let me get the clock ready for us.
Am I good? I'm on camera? Is that? Oh, okay.
No, you're not on camera. We haven't gotten you.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, is my
Actually,
camera
might be
set up
better.
okay?
Yes.
How are you gonna do the sign off if you don't have producer Julian? Have you taught her the sign off?
No, I haven't. I did it with
Wait,
producer Dave.
How does it sign on?
I'll say producer Maddie, and you'll say signing off, and then I'll handle it from there.
Oh, but my mic's not on.
Well, it's going to have to be for the sign off.
Well, I guess I'll have to turn it on right here, right?
Yes. I don't know if that's the right button. I just said yes.
Well, we could all do it. Like she could be like, "This is Sarah," and then like go like all the way down the board, and I could say signing off, and you could be like over and out.
No, that's different. And if it's different, it's bad.
Okay, well, I'll figure something out. Don't worry. I'm good at that.
It's going to be great.
All right, let's get
It's going to be great. Killing it.
9, 8,
all right.
7, 6.
You're so depressed.
5,
Impressed.
4.
Which great. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is Honest to God, a production of The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. We're still rocking and rolling. Part 2, NFP and the pill. We haven't gotten to the NFP part yet. I don't know if we're going to the way we're going. If we do go over, you can find all of this on YouTube as well. We also usually post the full video on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. So be sure to check us out there. And because Producer Julian is not here to tell me to say this, make sure you like and subscribe and comment, and then make alternate YouTube accounts and do the exact same thing, and then do it from different computers too. Just
Different
whatever you have to keep the
devices.
system. Yeah, we're a big dollar operation here at Honest to God, and we need the engagement. Yeah. So anyway, guys, super pumped for this, and I really want to keep going. Sarah, you said that you really wanted me to lead into this by saying that Sarah's now going to talk about gay monkeys. I think those was your exact words.
So, yeah, in teaching some young folk recently, the most jaw-dropping topic I would say was when talking about mate selection. And so I know that Dr. Janet Smith has done a contraception. Why not?
Yes, read that or listen to that.
It's
so good.
incredible. And she references in it the study done with, are they gorillas or
Chimpanzees, I think.
whatever
I thought
they are, whatever species.
Bonobos.
But basically,
Some
one
primate.
of them was injected with Depo, right? So the birth control injection. And so the one gorilla, whatever the species was contracepted, and the male left the female and went to another female that had not been contracepted. And then that female was then shot up with the Depo, and the male left that female and went to another female, and so on. And by the end of it, in short, the male was confused and went to another male.
Right.
That, and there are a bunch of other studies she mentions, but basically it all gets back to mate selection and the disruption of the fertile pheromones that are released from male and females, and how it's picked up by the opposite sex, and the effects on that with our young people, especially.
The one that, and I'm not sure if this is another Janet Smith one, but one of the case studies that we read when I teach this in Theology of the Body, and these were little monkeys. I don't remember, they were not the big kind. They were like little marmosets or something, and they were at a zoo in Germany, and the monkeys kept making more monkeys, right? Monkeys are really good at making more monkeys. And so they gave all the female monkeys birth control injections, and the female monkeys would still pair up with the male monkeys, but not the ones they did before. The larger, sort of louder, more aggressive male monkeys that used to be the ones who were constantly breeding with the female were being rejected by the females, who were then going after sort of the lower down the totem pole monkey. It was really interesting. And just the effect on their brain to literally turn their brain into a different thing, that its understanding of attraction and all were totally warped.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
terrifying.
in short, with us as humans, like you're in a room, and I go back to the young people because so many young people are using a contraceptive for, reasons X, Y, or Z, which again is a Band-Aid. But as a parent, listening, the importance of getting your child off of it for reasons X, Y, and Z. One of them being that it is a Band-Aid and that you've got to get to the root of the problem, but also to safeguard their future mate selection and to really understand what it's doing. because, with that information, you can guide your child in understanding, you're going to be naturally more attracted to certain males if you have daughters or certain females if you have males, just by very nature of the fertile pheromones that they're putting off, colorless, odorless, right? It's sensed. And you would actually choose the wrong person for yourself if you mess with those pheromones.
Well, it goes into things like genetic compatibility and stuff like that too, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's super interesting. And I just want to repeat this. None of that has anything to do with morality, right? We're not hitting you over the head right now with morality. We're talking about the science behind it. Valeria, you mentioned off air about sort of media disinformation or misinformation. I get the two confused because they're both used as buzzwords by every major media right now. But can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so there's been a growing movement among just the crunchy community, people who are not religious at all, talking about getting off birth control and not having all these synthetic hormones running through your body every single day.
Weird.
And so the Washington Post approached a lot of these people who have like podcasts and Instagram platforms, and they were asking them like, we want to hear your perspective. We just want to kind of open up this conversation. And what they ended up doing was taking the whole article and saying, this is a right-wing extremist disinformation campaign, and all of this is fake, and birth control has no negative side effects at all.
Right.
And it's just insane. And they like left out entire interviews, pretty much took like one phrase that they were able to spin with that angle. And they're just trying to shut it down because they see that this makes sense. People don't want that happening to their bodies. And if they make it look like disinformation, like they've done with so many other things in the past, then people won't take it seriously. The money will keep rolling in.
Yeah, and I do think we were saying off air because we got heated off air, like in a good way. You use the word medicalization, and I think the better usage is commoditization of women's bodies, which is this like sort of the main theme of the sexual revolution in general, right? It is you're sold this false bill of goods by the third wave feminists in the 60s and 70s, right? Of liberation and sexual liberation and all of these things. But what it's really done, and you can look at this from just a pure economic, whatever perspective, is it has turned the woman's body in pretty much all ways into an object that is used for profit or used for pleasure, right?
Yes.
Cough, surrogacy.
So what's that?
Surrogacy? You ever heard of that?
Surrogacy.
Surrogacy.
Yeah.
Oh, surrogacy. I thought it was surrogacy. I was saying it wrong.
I thought Sarah Gissy was somebody's name. And you're going to tell me the story.
Surrogacy. Okay. I've been saying it wrong this whole time.
Surrogacy and in vitro fertilization. And and once again, with objectification, going back to pornography and this whole movement that has made so much money off of women being used and turned into objects. So that's awful.
I was talking to a woman at the pool the other day, and she, wasn't getting pregnant for a little bit of time. Her doctor was like, yeah, you are going to need an egg donor. And she was like, yeah, no, I'm going to, God's got this one. She has 3 other children already. Right. She ends up getting pregnant. Of course.
Sure.
It's exactly to your point. The body is used for money. Invasive procedures are done with no reason.
Right.
Goes back to the lack of education.
The surrogacy thing is super interesting to me because I cannot imagine sort of like a better, not analogy, but an example of like, I guess it's voluntary slavery, but it is a selling of yourself and a buying of another person, right, for a task. And it really does break my heart. And you could take that clip, or me saying IVF, right, that's another, grave mishandling of morality, right, and make that sound like I'm this terrible person who thinks all these people are, evil and going to hell or whatever. But I think ultimately it's just these women and these men too who are involved in these transactions, right, are lied to. I think it's mostly ignorance instead of malice, and it's heartbreaking.
So it's interesting how you talk about kind of the it's interesting how we talk about surrogacy, and it's also talking about IVF because I think there's some really strong points about IVF. There was I've mentioned this in my conversion story, but I'll mention this now. I've nannied since I was 15 years old, and I worked for a family where there was a mom that was actually, she was a single mom, and how it happened was she apparently had both of her sons out of a sperm donor, two different sperm donors, because she wanted twin boys. And I can tell you right now that IVF, for that reason, and I don't even know how the procedure all came about, because she tried to get two pregnancies that were at risk of, because she had grown up Catholic, ironically, and she wanted to get two high risk pregnancies and that were at risk of being aborted. And how it happened was she ended up losing both of them because she, it was too high risk. Her heart was in it. Her heart meant well, but it was too high risk of a procedure to, try to remove the original egg from the original mother and then and then remove her natural egg and put that fertilized egg into her body and have her grow the pregnancy. She lost both pregnancies, ended up getting a sperm donor, and now the kids have grown up with, because she never had a husband, she didn't plan that out ahead of time. It ended up having horrible psychological effects on both kids. They grew up without a dad, and naturally, a huge percentage of why so many men in America have problems in their marriage is from fatherless homes. And it's from, or even if they had a father, he was a crappy father and wasn't a courageous man like St. Joseph that I'm wearing around my neck. But, case in point, there's never going to be a 100%, all safe procedure. And especially when it comes to IVF and artificial insemination.
One thing I always try to bring up whenever IVF comes up, because this is a touchy subject. I know a number of people who are conceived through IVF or had children with IVF, is that I just always want to sort of put this point, make this super clear. It has no bearing on the value of the life created, right? At all, right? And I ended up having some tough conversations one time with a student of mine. I had this conversation with the class and talking about the Catholic's moral issue with IVF, and they were really upset because they were conceived through IVF, and they and the whole explanation. No, it was a sinful act. But you're not a sinful act, right? You have all the dignity of anybody else, right? And the same reason that we wouldn't say that someone who's conceived through some other method that's morally right, like a sexual assault or something, right? That has no bearing on them and their dignity. I just want to make that super clear anytime that comes up.
The end doesn't justify the means,
right?
And you think about like the children conceived having their parents using birth control. They chose that route, and that means nothing to the dignity of the human person.
It doesn't mean that they're unwanted.
Yes.
Technically, I'm an unplanned pregnancy. My mom was 39 and a half when I was born, and that's apparently past the childbearing age. And we're hearing nowadays that women are giving birth, into their 50s even.
My wife is 35, and she was joking the other day that she's almost advanced maternal age.
You can tell her I am.
Yeah, and we have every intention of having some more. So yeah. Okay, so I do want to get into the second half of what we really wanted to talk about today, which is NFP, which is natural family planning. And I want to open it up with D-Time over there, because you've been a really good sport for the first however long we've been on the air, 40 some odd minutes. And just, can you tell us what NFP is? And
NFP is really, so I guess to start, I think it's a team effort, a husband and wife team effort. And it takes a lot of discipline in order to implement. But it's a beautiful process where the women and the men learn their wife's cycle, and what the ebbs and flows of it are, and when she's at her most fertile period, and when, if you're trying to avoid having a child for monetary reasons, financial reasons, or whatever, you know what your window is of abstinence, and that's where the difficulty comes in. There's kind of a level of self-mastery that comes in there, and from my standpoint, it's not an easy road. I don't think it's easy for the women either.
Right.
But it's kind of an incredible thing. I've noticed that I know when my wife is fertile because, really the desire increases.
Yeah,
Full
It
circle.
right.
Pheromone.
Exactly. The pheromones, and like my body knows it. It's like, okay, abstinence time.
Aw.
Get ready to do it. But I think a lot of people falsely call it Catholic birth control.
I agree.
And it's just really totally
mischaracterization.
not. I think NFP is really a coming together of a lot of Catholic virtue in and of itself into just that process. And again, it's not an easy thing to do. There are times where it's extremely difficult and frustrating, but is definitely beautiful to live out. And I think it brings a husband and wife way closer.
The best sort of clap back for its Catholic birth control I've ever heard is that what you're saying is that not having sex is birth control, right? You're saying that celibacy is birth control,
right.
Which means that everyone in here is using birth control right now, and it means that your parish priest and the convent of nuns my sister-in-law just joined are all on birth control, right? Because abstaining from sexual activity is obviously not birth control,
right?
No, not to brag, but we've only ever used NFP to try to get pregnant. And so I've never seen sort of the flip side of that. And we had a lot of difficulties in that area for many years. And praise God, we have 5 beautiful children, and hopefully we'll have some more. But the whole NFP, I don't know, just sort of our whole understanding of it, I feel like, is warped in a big way. And even in the Catholic Church, right? I have many friends who I've spoken to, or people who we've been close with over the years, who they'll be using NFP, which is great. That's good. And it's for something like a big European vacation. And I want to be clear about the church's teaching in regards to that. And that can be a touchy subject.
Thank you.
But I'm happy to talk about it. Do you want to take that one, Sarah?
No, John Henry, but thank you for bringing up the big D word, the discernment.
Oh,
and
thank you.
The the serious reasons for needing to try to avoid.
Right.
Because I think that is probably the number one thing within the Catholic circle, where it's like you kind of check the box of like, okay, well, we practice NFP, check, we're good. But it's so much more than that.
Right.
And the other side is that you are called to use it for serious reasons. So to your point of financial, psychological, physical, emotional, whatever those might be, which are going to look different from couple to couple to couple,
right?
But not using it from a selfish perspective.
Right.
So I've been teaching. It's been really put on my heart more lately to really up the with my ministry, just to up the. Are you using it for selfish reasons or serious reasons? And I think that's really not talked about enough.
I'd love to open it up for sort of the good of NFP from a husband and wife relationship standpoint, right? Because once again, my wife and I have never been in a situation where we have to say, all right, we have to seriously abstain now for a while, right? During these fertile periods, right? And you hear all these nice things, right? And like, I get it. It's good. It's beautiful. I've heard lots of really nice commentary on, how you become, you're intimate in other ways and all of these things. And like, I kind of don't get it. Like I can somebody go off on that for a second?
I think, well, I am not married, yet. But hopefully that will change in the future. But I think the biggest misconception about NFP, about natural family planning, is that it's a component of purity culture.
Well, that's interesting.
Because people blame purity culture for so much religious trauma, and they blame it for so much pain and suffering and psychological disorders that have happened in people's lives and why people are leaving the faith.
Can you speak to what you
Catholic
mean?
guilt? You're saying like a Catholic guilt perspective?
Yeah, in a sense, like so, but just
Can you clarify what you mean by purity culture?
Purity culture, kind of the don't have sex or else you'll get pregnant, or else don't have sex or else you'll go to hell.
Don't even talk about sex.
Don't
Sex
talk
is
about
gross.
sex. Don't talk about what happens in, the sexual process, how babies grow. It's wrong and offensive. That's kind of what I was taught growing up in my Protestant life.
Oh,
And
I think that's actually like literal blasphemy. Actually,
there are
to talk about
people-
sex like it's a dirty, evil, bad thing.
there are people
Yeah.
that literally used to tell me if I brought up the word sexual intercourse, there are grown men, and to this day I have no idea why this was, that there were grown men that actually said, now Katie, we don't want to offend anyone.
Weird.
We don't want to, by saying the word
Sexual
sexual intercourse. I literally, or sex, literally, and to this day, I mean, I have legitimately and maturely replayed that in my mind after conversion, because I thought to myself, what was up with that? Why are grown men telling me, oh, you don't want to offend anyone. We don't want to talk about this here. We can talk about this behind closed doors. And I don't know if it was because they were not taught the facts of life in, as we say, a virtuous way.
Yeah, it's because that kind of talk, it's a Protestant heresy. That's an outgrowth of like a puritanical Victorian era where your body is seen as something that's bad and gross. It's the same. It's going back to the same not being able to talk about women's menstrual cycles.
It's none of your business.
Yeah, that's a weird,
Well, the
bizarre
devil
take.
uses silence.
Yes.
Right?
Oh yeah, that was powerful what you just said. That was so
Thank you, Holy Spirit.
powerful. I just, well, it's so true though, because it's like, people, we don't need to scandalize the facts of life. We don't need to scandalize sexual beauty.
Well, and there's a distinction between discussing sex and being explicit about sex. Right. My kids, the oldest two for sure, right, who are in middle and upper elementary school, absolutely understand how sex works and everything about it. I've had those conversations. Obviously, I'm not having an explicit, scandalous conversation with my kids about sex. I wouldn't have an explicit, scandalous conversation with you about sex, D-Tom, and you're one of my best friends, right? Because that's not what we do.
Right.
Because sex is not an explicit, scandalous thing. It's a good, beautiful thing. But like all good, beautiful things, it needs to be in the right context. And that's what we try to impress upon our kids. And I don't know any of the books offhand, except for Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, which is the best book ever to read to your kids, regardless of the age, about pornography. We'll put it in the show notes. It's fantastic. But we have a number of books that go through all of these things in a way that's not gross and weird. And it can be kind of awkward, but your kids don't even know it's awkward, which is neat about it. You were saying off air, you talking about how the devil loves silence, or the devil works with silence. You were talking off air earlier sort of about how much deeper and more nefarious a lot of this goes. When we look at it, we've been talking a lot about it from a scientific standpoint, but when we look at it from sort of a moral standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I think just the idea of the war against NFP and of sexuality is really something a lot more diabolical and nefarious. That's there's definitely a huge spiritual element to all of this that's been going on for some time, right? The devil is a master at adapting to each new generation and finding his ways in. And in reality, I think birth control is such a way that he's waged war on families, on life, and the way that it's perpetuated to us in virtually every facet of our lives, it really becomes overwhelming and makes it become a norm that people just willingly accept. And the devil's kind of kicking back and watching all this happen and is like, my plan's working exactly how it's supposed to.
There's something really powerful about what you just said, Jonathan, and that brought up a memory of when I was in church camp growing up. And I remember there was always a lot of involvement of parents that would come and volunteer when they didn't, before we had a paid staff at the camp that I attended growing up. It was literally the parents coming and cooking the meals and being the cabin moms and being the cabin dads and, being the small group leaders. And I will never forget them. Literally, I don't know when this was, if this was on the car ride back, but there was a mom that was always known as kind of the one to run her mouth. And she, in my opinion, talked very scandally about a young man, a student, a camper that was a little overweight. And apparently he was just very, he was just a bit on the heavy side. It happens when we're growing up. And I think that's a big tool that the devil uses, is also the minds of the people that we're supposed to trust.
Yeah.
Because I will never forget how that mom talked about that poor boy, and talking about, his body and his probably developing, chest muscles and back muscles, and saying that he has man boobs. And it's just like, what are we doing today? We're talking about, we could get arrested for something like that if this was at Life Teen Camp, and this is at this is at children's, Protestant camp. So I think that's a huge way the devil works, is in those we trust.
Well, it goes back, and it goes back to making us feel like our bodies are bad or dirty.
And
Absolutely.
ultimately questioning the dignity of the human person, like as a daughter or son of God, right? Because you look at all of the transgender lifestyles that we're encountering these days, and it all is so clearly evident, like where there's such an attack on this concept because it distorts what is true. And if they're going to be confused in that, then they're going to be confused in the procreation down the road. And so,
and it goes, going back to what you were saying, it's not just a normalization of these evils, like attacking our own fertility and things like that. Normalization would be bad enough. It is a hyper radicalized defense of purposefully breaking our bodies.
Yes.
Celebration of it.
Yeah, you hear something negative, somebody say something negative about birth control. I listened to a girl on YouTube giving a talk about how the evils of hormonal birth control, and the numbers of references to The Handmaid's Tale, and you're just seen as this, like the exact opposite of what's actually happening, where this girl is saying, no, like my body's good and I'm in control of my own body, right? And that being treated as if she's saying, like, I'm just want to be a sex slave and go off to what? It's filthy. And it is such a demonic assault because like the vitriol in which they will defend these evil things. Yeah.
That's why Satanism is so on the rise now, because what is a primary practice in satanic culture? It's the abortion, the sacrificing of a baby. They have offerings where they, literally cut a woman's uterus open, and they take out her ovaries and they take out her uterus. And it's like, that is satanic culture.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Not at some Hollywoodized satanic ritual, but in a doctor's office down the road from where you live. All right. Well, that is not a super uplifting note to end on today, but we are going to have to end it. Y'all, thank you so much for coming in, guys. We really appreciate it. Maddie, thank you for producing today. Ladies and gentlemen, dear listener, dear viewer, thanks for watching.
Sticks.
Thanks for listening. This has been Honest to God, a production of The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. Producer Maddie,
signing off.
Over and out.
We weren't doing popsicle sticks. I forgot.
No, we didn't have time. That was
unless we want to just do it for fun.
It was a good talk. Oh man.
Well, I'm gonna
grab We do have promos.
We got two bumpers.
Two bumpers to make.
Anytime you want to do the first one?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, you were on the first one. So
was I too close to the
I
microphone?
wasn't recording the entire time.
What?
I'm kidding.
I really had like a thing.
That was good.
A little pucker moment.
Oh,
sorry.
We've been there.
Oh, you've been there.
We've been like 15 minutes in. We might have done a whole session one time.
No, we got A, B, C, D.
Starting off.
I'm really glad no one shushed me for that last satanic comment about abortion being satanic.
I mean, I'm not gonna shush you for
It's
that.
It's all satanic. Like everything.
Oh yeah.
Valera, you want to do the other bumper? for this show?
How do these sound to you?
This episode was another stuff.
How many bumpers?
Do we still want to mention resources? Or
See,
Oh, yeah.
that's right.
Show notes.
Shoot, yeah, we can we'd love that in the show notes. It'd be awesome.
Ask Janice if there's anything else I need to do.
you just put something in a bumper.
Oh,
Check out the show notes for all.
This is how they always end.
I'll do a
Cool.
bumper if you.
More.
Or did you already grab the two of them? Did you already
What?
grab?
I think
both
it's
of them?
you guys, right?
Okay.
Episode. Honest.
This is a squeaky chair. I can't swing in this one.
God.
Mhm.
Hi. Sorry. This is fun. I'm doing the heads and tails of it.
I just can't get over how big of a topic this whole thing is.
Yeah.
Like I feel like a chicken without a head. You know, where you're just like,
So many.
that
things.
whole.
Well, exactly. There's so many directions we could go in.
Yeah, so here's everything we've recorded today. So we've got part 1 and 2 of the first show, and then we got part 1 and 2 of what we just recorded right here.
And we're gonna do the bumpers here in a moment.
Perfect.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
All those wonderful.
I know, right? Yeah.
It took me
Everyone
a
did
second
great.
to see
Everyone
that
did
it's
really good at,
artificial
keeping
conception
their
and not just
mic on.
contraception.
Mhm.
We did talk about that a lot.
Was I too close to the
Conception,
mic? I
yeah,
pulled it
contraception.
closer.
You were actually the
I'm
We
sorry.
talked about both.
I didn't
That's
write
okay.
it. I would go with artificial contraception though.
See,
Okay.
Katie, you have a really good voice because
Oh,
you just
thanks.
speak. Yeah, you just speak really like you just naturally have a way of like projecting your voice, so there was no problems on your end. Both of you did really good. The only worry with your mic was just you kind of have like the yours is just a little like it's just at a weird angle. So I just want to make sure we heard you.
It's
You-
always
That's okay.
that.
I
It's
can
always
silence.
that
And how is
mic.
this? Do you like this mic? You know, like, as opposed to talking into it, like his little.
This is pretty cool. I feel
No,
like
I mean
a,
his what? This
oh
thing.
his thing.
How
Yeah,
does it
so
sound?
sounded pretty good. The only thing I had to manage was just like every now and again I had to like lower it because it would catch like maybe him writing something down. Like it's a pretty powerful mic.
Wow.
Very sensitive.
Yeah,
was a
very
John
very
Paul
sound sensitive, but nothing that couldn't just be fixed with just a little
So what did you go to
Editing
school
magic.
graphic design.
for? Okay.
Yeah, but I had like a video production class once.
Yeah,
So
really.
but we never did any of this. I never did any of this. This was all new.
And she is going to become Catholic.
Oh yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Oh,
Yeah. So I
yay.
started going to Katie's actually gonna sponsor me when I go to RCIA.
Yay! I love conversions.
Yeah, I started going to St. Catherine's in this January.
Oh, wonderful.
And I
I
grew up
love
like
St.
Katie. I
Catherine.
grew up Protestant, and I actually took a break from the church. Once I went off to college, I didn't go to church. I would go to the church with my family, but I didn't go anywhere when I was.
Yeah.
So I live away from home still. And then one day, I think I was talking to my friend Damien about it, and I was like, because I've been hurt by the church. I've had a lot of girls who would like gossip about me behind my back, and these were like supposedly good Christian girls. And I told my friend Damien, I'm like, I love God. I still love, God, but I don't. I miss the community. I miss having a family. And I really miss that. So one day, I was like, I met so many Catholics during college, actually. Friend Damien, my friend Christina. So I'm like, what is this all about? Because I've always just been curious. I've been Protestant my whole life. I've heard so many misconceptions about Catholicism. I'm like, let's break all that. Let's just
Can I see
walk
your
right
pen?
into the Catholic Church, see what happens. And I met
I gotta
these
just
two lovely
change one
people,
word because it says the and it needs to
Charles.
be
They're
two,
an older couple, but they told
and I don't
me-
want to screw it up.
They are the best.
They're wonderful. They're
Sweet.
They've basically become like my surrogate church parents, basically.
Uh.
They actually had me over for dinner earlier this week, which is really nice.
Do you want to do a conversion story episode? Are you
Um,
comfortable doing that?
I don't know.
Yes,
okay if you say
please
no.
do. I will.
Don't
I
feel
will sit
pressure,
with
but
you,
it'd be great.
John Henry. I'll sit
I'll
next to
think
her if
about
it makes
it.
her feel
Whatever you
better.
want.
I'll think-
Seriously, yeah.
I will
We'd love it.
consider it, but yeah.
and no
I'll be
worries,
with
I'm not-
you.
Yeah, I'll consider it because honestly, I do think it is a bit of an interesting story to talk about because I've always been like, it's not that I never was like I was very devout when I was especially younger. Like I read like the Bible like every single day. I think I was like a lot more religious than even my parents at one point, but I was still very like. I still didn't feel like I had like a connect because I
Dude,
felt
it
like
gets
I'm,
so
like,
much
God's
cooler
mad
when
at
that
me.
light goes
Like,
off.
and that's kind of how life felt. It's like God's mad at me. I have
Bam.
to do all these things because God's mad at me.
And it's funny because, you know, when I go to a Catholic church and like I see the crucifix, I think one day, it was actually Palm Sunday, I think, I just started like crying because I was like, because used to the story of like the crucifixion was made as like a, see, you did that. You sinned, therefore you hurt God. And that was like how that story was told to me. So it like made me hurt. But at Palm Sunday, I realized, no, this isn't like a guilt story. This is a look how much God loves you. He saw that you could not fix your own sin. So he decided to come down on this earth, live life as you, as human, and then die for you and die for your sins. And I think I just started crying, and I was just like, and then I looked around and I saw all these people who were like comforting me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is home. Like I've really felt home there, and so I just, you know what, screw it. I think I will.
That's beautiful.
Let me know when it is, John Henry, because I'd like to. I don't have to be in the room, but I just would.
Yeah,
if you don't want me to.
Once again, only if you're comfortable.
Yeah,
no pressure.
No, I think
Are you at St. Catherine's now?
I still go to St. Catherine's now. I'm gonna do RCIA.
I want to do one that's just like a separate thing.
Yeah. So Jeremy Johnston will be doing your RCIA.
Yeah, I did talk with him.
That's our home parish. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we live up in Adairsville, but we're staying registered parishioners at St. Catherine's. Often end up in Calhoun for convenience. But.
Oh yeah.
I saw Julian literally last week. I saw Julian. I've never seen his kids before. He scooted out with his wife, so I didn't get to talk to him. At Mass at St. Catherine's. I'm like, oh my gosh, Julian.
20 minutes.
Because I thought he was at St. Michael the Archangel, but I guess
he was
at St. Catherine's, and that was like.
You know what? My wife was saying that she really loves the new pastor that's there. So
he's so, the parochial Father Miller Gomez he did his final pastoral year before he took his final vows at St. Catherine's.
Okay.
So Father Miller Gomez is a brother. He's a doll. He's the little Hispanic guy, Father Miller Gomez. They were ordained on the same day. Yes.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, it's just the cutest.
These new vocation stories are just really give you such hope.
Oh my gosh. Well,
they're
he's
pouring in too.
Well, Father Ray's doing a fair bit to help out, I guess, right?
Yeah, you're saying with vocations?
Yeah.
I just thought of a wicked good John Paul II quote that I could have included in this segment, and I just now remembering it after we finished the show.
That's how it goes usually.
Yeah.
You all think of great stuff to say.
Yeah, I wish I could have recalled the 25-page paper I wrote in college about in vitro and.
I find my old college papers sometimes on my computer. The ones that
Do
I
you?
used to, yeah.
You still have that computer? That's pretty impressive.
No. I just move all my files every time I go.
I got you.
Yeah.
Should
Cool.
I end the YouTube stream?
Sure.
Do we need to keep it on?
Do you need anything
I don't
else from
want
me,
to
or
touch
we good?
anything that I'm not supposed to touch.
We've got to get these bumpers knocked out.
Okay, yeah.
Do you need anything else from me, or am I good?
I don't think so. Yeah, check
Oh,
with
yeah,
Janice.
no.
Thank you so much, Katie.
Did you need anything from me either?
Yes, bumper.
Bumpers.
Hi, Katie.
Oh, do I need
It's
oh,
good
I
to meet
do.
y'all.
You got to record the bumpers.
I'd like
okay.
to
Yeah,
stay in
okay.
touch.
Oh, I
Sorry,
love the picture.
You've got to record.
Yeah,
the bumpers.
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
have to. You can leave right now if you want.
It's
What's
Nah.
do you wanna
404.
hang on, sorry, let me
Fox 97.
I'll need to use the restroom.
Oh, they're good.
I'll
go on.
use the restroom.
41798 9686.
Okay, cool.
And I'd love to get together.
I might have.
Yeah,
Jane and
absolutely.
Hang out with Mark and
Where
Caroline.
are you guys
You may
at?
have to screenshot.
So we live
it.
1 mile from St. Peter Chanel.
Okay.
We're technically parishioners of St. Monica's.
Sure.
Get out of there.
Really?
Sarah. Get up in the Northlands where life is sane.
That's
We apparently really need land and ball ground.
Somebody said on the other episode, like, it would be really hard unless you're living on like some Catholic compound. I was like, I'm living on a Catholic compound. I love it.
Over here.
I love it.
No, we need to tap into that.
When the whole world ends, y'all can come out.
Thank you for letting me.
Yeah.
Okay,
I got it locked in on my GPS.
Okay, I'm gonna skedaddle.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Touch.
Drive safe.
Yeah. Do you guys have each other's number or no?
Where do you live?
Coming.
Oh.
Up by Good Shepherd, but we go to Christ the Redeemer.
To Bosco.
We want to. We actually, my husband was
Get on the
thinking
waiting
about trying to teach at Bosco, and my mom's like, "Do it, you'll get on the wait list."
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
you'll get front of the line if you're teaching.
We joke and we're like,
Gloria, what's your,
so can you pre-apply
your
for
number,
your child in
Gloria?
utero?
What's your number?
I'm going to go to this already.
2020.
Georgia, my Georgia, who's 9 months old,
9166.
her pre-K class is full. Like, not a joke. Right now, there's no space in that class.
I'll send
you.
August 10th.
Oh, cool. That's my sister's
It's
birthday.
male siblings, alumni children, and like
My sister's
a
birthday.
couple of grandkids, faculty kids. Yeah, it's wild.
Wow.
Okay, Blair, I sent you those folks, those
Thank
photos
you.
too.
We're the Israelites. We
Okay.
just explode. This is why
Let's get
Pharaoh
out of
killed them all. Because
Have a good
like,
night. Power numbers.
yeah,
Awesome.
we can outbreed them. It's just gonna be
I'm
extra
telling you,
Mormons
man,
and
the,
Muslims in
the
100
Holy
years.
Spirit is moving for a reason,
So
and
shocking.
He's setting people up to do this kind of thing and bring it all back. That's why Angel Studios is doing that movie and
That's
TV
really
combo
Okay, I
Called-
saw this. What
called Homestead.
the little is it the image of the little children?
Oh, you're thinking about the possum
No,
trot one.
no. So Angel Studios is
I
going
saw
to put
that.
out
That's not Angel
a
Studios.
movie in December, and then they're going to kick off a TV series
Called Homestead?
called Homestead. And the premise is apocalyptic, like end of the world, but it's not about the end of the world. It's
Right.
actually about the start of the new world
Okay.
and how it gets built, centered around family and faith.
Oh, that-
I can't wait for it. It's going to be phenomenal. I can't remember the actor's name. He's got really blonde hair, really blue eyes, well-known actor in a lot of big movies, very Catholic. Oh, hold on. I'll tell you.
Kevin James.
Kevin James.
Yeah, right.
He's super Catholic.
Is he really?
Like under the table, but he's at Catholic answers all the time out in San Diego. Hey, yeah. Yeah. Matt was talking about how he is. He was always out there and told him like, don't
This
announce
guy.
this out loud and stuff.
Neil McDonough.
Oh.
Sorry. Let me see the face.
I don't recognize him.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know his face.
So he's one of the guys in Hollywood who won't kiss on like
Another dude.
no, who won't kiss a woman on screen because he's married.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he's super Catholic.
John Henry, she has to go. Do you want to?
I left my
She-
baby
she
alone
left
for
her
the first
baby.
time,
She's
and I
trying
want
to
to get
delegate,
back
but
to
I'm trying to
Listen,
keep
I need
her
to get your
voice.
priorities in order. Okay, we have to pull the bumper. Your baby.
She's your
we have-
baby,
babies
like-
come and
He's
go.
with the in-laws,
You're-
and
no,
I'm just like, I hope
That's
he's
fine.
not
Sarah,
screaming.
Sarah can do it. Sarah can do
Okay.
it. Yeah. Thank you, Valera.
Thank you.
Seriously.
I
Just do it
enjoyed
now.
it.
What?
I mean, I could do it now before I got there.
No, I don't want to take it from you, but I understand the baby thing.
Sarah's kids are all in the car
Oh,
with
yeah.
childlike on. All right.
This is mom time.
Well, thank you for coming out here. Mom, y'all need to come over too. Y'all should come over and hang out
Shoot
at
some
the house.
dates.
Talk to my wife.
We'll
I'm
bring
not
the
gonna do it.
Polaris.
I'm not
I think
gonna
I texted her actually.
Good.
Okay. It's yours.
Patrick and Maggie Wilborn are coming over too.
Oh, I was with Maggie
Sunday,
today.
maybe. Yeah, love them.
I do too.
Is that Wilborn the same family as like Julie Wilborn?
Yeah. So they've got Julie's got 100 acres next door to me on our weird Catholic compound out in the middle of the mountains. Yeah,
That's really cool.
it is super.
That's really cool.
Now, you know, our family is really close with Father Kevin Barrett, who leads Catholic Family.
Who leads what? Catholic family? Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you
Yeah.
guys go?
No,
You gotta go.
not my direct family,
Have you
but my
ever been?
parents took Sammy.
Yeah.
They took her for years, and we've just
Have you ever
like
been?
never gotten
Have
there.
you never been?
I've been, but to like a totus tuist, like it was
No,
never.
go do the thing.
I
It's
know.
the best.
I know. I texted Father Kevin
It's
yesterday.
so hokey
I
and
know it's
campy
hokey.
in the best
all
way
the
possible.
things.
Yep.
It's like 2 hours of like, am I really doing this for a week?
You
And
know,
the rest
Abby-
of it's like, this is the best thing ever.
You-
I don't ever want to leave.
Abby Johnson went last week.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Like, was she a speaker or she just like went?
No, she was there with her family.
That's super cool.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of like getting up there. Like
Yeah.
people are starting to find out about it.
Oh, well, I got to have dinner with Bishop Strickland there last summer. Like, it's, and he's just like hanging out.
I
It's just
know.
all the cool kids hanging out.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Y'all
You
ready?
to do the
Yeah.
bumpers? I'm ready.
I wasn't
I'm
prepared for
ready.
this.
Do you record the bumpers or?
I don't-
You're there, girl.
You can do it. I believe in you, man.
You do mean contraception, right?
So do I just read
I
something
didn't write
off?
that.
No, artificial
Artificial
conception would be IVF.
Reproductive.
Do you, oh gosh.
No, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
I default, but it makes sense
I-
kind of both ways.
Do you want
Yeah,
to change it
Yeah,
to?
yes, please spell it correctly.
No worries.
I'm the world's worst speller, but we talked about both, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it's hard. Contraception, not conception.
Which is also.
I mean, we
what
did.
say.
We hit on both,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
but
So
that's
I wanted
the
to
all this and
do
more.
what you meant.
That's the and more.
All right. So. Oh, and I'm Sarah. I would say her name. I mean, I could. I don't know if she wants me
So
to.
do I need to record the bumper for this one and the previous episode?
Yes.
Okay, so I just need to make sure so I knew how to save it.
I think you could probably do it in one recording.
Oh, just do it in one recording.
And then send it off, and I can edit it and post.
Okay.
Yeah, and Jack will
Gotcha.
change it.
Alright.
You know, you could be even do the. Oh, I put the clapper away, but you know.
No, I can just yell clap,
Clap on.
and then I'll
Yeah, I can.
Clap off.
Well, I'm like.
The clapper.
Do they still sell those?
I
don't know.
That.
You're dating
I
yourself.
can just go like.
Sorry.
Yeah.
My grandma had one. I remember that. That was super
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
I used to mess with it all the time.
So will I need to actually record the video of me announcing it?
The video doesn't matter. No.
Okay, well, I'll just-
It'll only be audio.
My hair is stuck.
No one will see your hair stuck in your headphones.
Yeah, I've got it out though.
Falling and I can't get.
in that exact intonation, yes, sir. All right, so wait. 062024. Okay.
Ooh. I barely caught that.
It is on now.
Who's going first?
You go for it.
Ooh,
Okay, fine. I'll do it.
Ladies first.
that's fair.
For sake of chivalry.
All right, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and on this episode of Honest to God, we talk about artificial contraception, the pill, and the beauty of NFP. All this and more on this episode of Honest to God.
Perfect. One take.
Right, and
Hi, I'm Jonathan, and on this episode, we discuss how male intimacy is sorely lacking in our society today and what we can do to fix it. All this and more on Honest to God.
That's good enough.
perfect.
This is how I live my life, but I'm shunned at home for it. So I appreciate it.
What,
I
the
appreciate
goofy?
it. Yes. My daughter's like, oh,
All
Mom.
right, so
Stop.
we got the bumpers, we got all the parts.
Cool.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Seriously,
you
for
guys.
You're
pinching
so
it.
impressive.
Come do this again. You killed it.
Oh yes,
I know you haven't done
if I have the
first
time. I've got a lot to do for class, but I mean, I love it. It's just gotta manage my time.
No, I
You
get
know,
it. Think about the conversion story thing.
I will think about it.
Welcome
because-
home.
All right.
I know you're not.
Thank you guys.
So, thank you. I guess we need to mail it off.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Where would I send it? Oh, just send it to Dave.
Goodbye.
Did Dave show you how to do?
Dave did not show me.
There's a email or no, I'm sorry. There's a Google Drive
Okay.
to send it to, and let me check with Jack
Yeah.
to see what that is.
I mean, he might have it open. I
He
don't-
may have it open. Yes,
Is it this drive right here?
I do.
It just says it's like the Quest. Dave Savage. Is this it?
It's going to be something just for the episode.
Honest to God episodes? Because it says a couple MP3s of it.
Okay,
Honest to God. Honest to God shareable?
you know what? Let Dave do it in the morning.
Okay.
I think that'll be best.
Yeah, because I don't want to mess anything up.
Yeah, I don't
As
either.
long as he knows that, like, hey, everything's recorded and we're good.
Yeah.
How do I
All right, so
turn this off?
yes. Or
Oh.
if we